Hey, Cookie. Your mics are hot up here. I could actually hear you both times. Do you want me to leave the mic lit or turn them off? I can hear you. You're very faint in the background. Absolutely. So that's not good at all. You're faint. Yes, I can hear you. You're like, it's like very faint, but I can hear you. It's like way in the background. Count, or just give me a number and I can tell you what it is. 9. Yeah. Okay, you're welcome.
Semantics, but yes.
So he's working on it. I gotta find a power for this thing.
trying to get his earpiece in.
Oh, say, little doggies, why don't you lay down? Lay down, little doggies, lay down.
It's not just what we wear. We are Cavenders, and this is how we live.
It's not a marketing gimmick. It's not a ploy. Your experience is seamless. I'm not moving anywhere that there's not a Sewell.
Discover our wide variety of new and certified pre-owned vehicles at Sewell Cadillac.
am a link in the chain. I am a link in the chain.
I am a link in the chain.
I'm 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 a link in the chain.
I am a link in the chain.
I am a link in the chain.
I'm a link in the chain.
I'm a link in the chain.
I'm a link in the chain.
I am a link in the chain.
When you play one of us, you play all of us.
One down, potentially 5 more to go. Highland Park passed the first test of the second season with a big win last week. But test number 2 comes tonight in one of the state's most spectacular venues. It's the Highland Park Scots and the Frisco Wakeland Wolverines, presented by Game On Sports. The Cavender's Boots pregame show is next.
When it's time to fall. John Robinson holds it in. We ready for war. Highland Park. The city's behind us. We giving you love. George Robinson going. The world is watching. The time is now. No other option. This is our moment. This is our time. The time is now. It's time to rise. This is our moment. This is our time. The time is now. It's time to rise.
Hello, everyone, and welcome here to Allen Eagle Stadium. My name is Miles Duncan alongside Jeremy Beedling as we're ready for some round 2 area round of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. Of course, it's the Highland Park Scots, as always, presented by Game On Sports tonight, taking on Frisco Wakeland. And Jeremy, it's the 6th time all-time that Highland Park's played here at Allen Eagle, and we'll talk more about this venue as the game goes on, but it is a spectacular facility for high school football.
Oh, you can say that again. I mean, there's no home field advantage like we have over at Highlander, but, I mean, this is second best, if there is one. You know, there's nothing like Texas high school football, and I think you can back me up on that one, Miles.
For sure. This is one of the state's premier venues. We're happy to be here tonight as Highland Park is into their second season. As we said there in their open, passed their first test with a big win last week over New Caney. And let's go ahead and recap that big win over the New Caney Eagles, as Highland Park was able to get a really good balanced performance from their offense in that one, and really good team football all the way across the board.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, looking at the stats here, Highland Park outgained the New Caney Eagles 418 yards to 326, just showing you how high-powered of an offense this Highland Park Scott offense is this year, with Brennan Storr, the 3-headed monster at running back, and as you see right now, the highlights rolling on the screen from the last win.
Right, it was, like I said, a big win there for Highland Park. They rushed for 235 yards, just 2 penalties in the game. Jay Cox with another big one on that one on the ground, and HP really showed off their versatility with Crowsdale getting going, Christian Reeves obviously doing his thing, Jay Cox, and made life a whole lot easier on Brennan Storr.
And you know, something that we've as we see another long run in this game, one of the biggest focal points of the Highland Park offense has been those big maulers up front, that offensive line rolling in new centers, rolling in new guys, but they have been consistently moving the pile all year long, Miles.
Right, and getting some turnovers. They were +2 in the turnover category. You know, teams like New Caney, they know they couldn't make those mistakes against Highland Park. Highland Park always takes advantage of those opportunities, and Brennan Storer certainly cashed in on a few.
Yeah, and I mean, over the past couple of weeks, we've seen Storer get more and more comfortable as we've seen him getting a couple more rushing touchdowns and throwing touchdowns over the past couple of weeks into this playoffs.
It was a big win for Highland Park, their 10th in a row after that opening game loss to South Lake Carroll. And I don't care what you're doing in sports. Jeremy Beadling, I don't care if it's Tiddlywinks or Texas high school football, 10 wins in a row is big time.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, we've seen this team grow up before our eyes all season, Miles. And, you know, as you said, Brennan Storer taking in as another Highland Park quarterback and just kind of bringing on the lineage of tradition here. You know, they say tradition never graduates, and it's really shown in this team that, you know, the young guys have stepped up, the older guys have kind of brought them along, and here we are today.
Right, that's Jeremy Beadling. My name's Miles Duncan. We're here in the Cavender's Boots pregame show, and let's go ahead and take a look at that season schedule, as Highland Park does have those 10 consecutive wins. And Jeremy Beadling, that opening loss to South Lake Carroll feels like a long time ago. You talked about the season and this team growing up before our eyes, and you can kind of see it with the results over the course of that season.
Yeah, and obviously the next week, the bounce back at Flower Mound, that was huge for this team's confidence. But I really think kind of the focal point, the turning point was against Coppell. That defense in the first half showed why they are one of the best defenses in the state of Texas. I remember they held them to 70 total yards in that first half, Miles. That was an amazing performance. And then you see the win at Rockwall, the win at Sherman, Longview, win as well, McKinney North, and obviously sealing up their district. But I mean, ever since South Lake Carroll, we've seen a different team.
Right, and let's go ahead and stay with that graphic there. I'm with you, Jeremy. I think in that Coppell game, they kind of found their identity, right, with those three running backs, realizing, hey, you know, Brennan Storer, he's a junior. We can't rely on him to drop back 5 steps and survey the field every time. We want to run the football. We want to get Brennan Storer out on the perimeter. They do what any good coaching staff does. They figured out what their guys do well, and they play to their strengths. You talked about the big offensive line. Crosdale, Cox, and Reeves. Now, those guys have all been killers. As you get a look there at Frisco Wakeland, still going through their pregame warm-ups, and we'll talk a lot about Frisco Wakeland as we go through this
number
one.
79 down there.
For sure. Connor Stroh will certainly talk about him as the game goes on, as well as Jared White. He's two of their big guys. But what else jumps out to you when you look at that Highland Park season schedule as they've gone through that regular season gauntlet through their district schedule, 9 consecutive wins?
So one of the biggest things that I see, and correct me if I'm wrong, one of the best things to have as a high school football team is a good quarterback. And Highland Park has played some really good quarterbacks this year. Rockwall, Braden Locke, they shut him down and were able to come out with the victory in that game. They've played a couple of really good quarterbacks this season, a couple of really high-powered offenses, and they've really shut them down.
For sure. Let's take a look at the season stats for Highland Park as they've kind of matured as this season has gone along. You talked about good quarterback play. They've certainly gotten it from Brennan Storer. At this point in the year, 66%, 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, well over 2,000 yards. Big-time stuff from their junior quarterback. But look at their rushing stats. Christian Reeves, 117 attempts, but so much balance there. You've got 4 guys with just about 50 carries and 300 yards, at least 6 touchdowns. You know, Jeremy, that does a whole lot in terms of headaches for opposing defenses when you have that kind of balance, specifically rushing the football.
Yeah, and I've talked to Coach Allen on multiple occasions, and he loves the fact that he has 3 different running backs, and they have 3 specific skill sets. Not that they all can't do everything on the field, but Christian Reeves, he said he's kind of their dash runner, north and south guy. Jay Cox, really good out of the backfield, and he loves Ben Crosdale, using him as a blocker and like a power runner in most situations.
And Highland Park, in terms of catching the football this year, let's go ahead and put up those receiving stats. And by the way, as always, great job by our Game On Sports production crew. You can see John Rutledge pacing the way, 45 catches, 679 yards, and 9 touchdowns. But how about the balance of that group as well? Those top 4 receivers, So the 2 inside guys, the 2 outside guys, and then Jay Cox, who has been such an X factor out of the backfield. And look at the balance there. Heisen, Herring, the 2 outside guys, Rutledge and Rossley on the inside, Jay Cox out of the backfield. Talk about, once again, headaches for the defense here.
Yeah, and like we said, this is a young team with some older guys mixed in, and we see John Rutledge, he's pacing the team with 45 receptions, 679 yards. But we've seen Jackson Heiss and Luke Herring get better and better each week. We've seen their chemistry grow with Brennan Storer each week. And, I mean, it's just exciting to see how much better they can get the next week after, and coming and seeing them. You know, you always know what you're gonna get out of John Rutledge, but those other 2 guys, they've really progressed throughout this season, Miles.
No question about it. It's been really fun to watch that junior group come together. A little bit too early for this. Look out for the Scots in 2022 again.
Hey, we've got to get through this season
as
first,
that offensive core will be spectacular once again. But right now, they have certainly been a really dynamic offense, and that's been par for the course under Randy Allen. Jeremy, we are outside this evening. Thought we'd talk for the first time tonight about our weather report. What do you got for us?
So it is pretty chilly outside. We've got it about 53 degrees right now, heading about 26, 27 minutes going to kickoff. Slight wind, 6 miles per hour. It shouldn't be too much of a worry, though. Clear skies. Perfect night for football, Miles. Perfect weather. This is what you want. A little bit of cold, getting into the later season. But hey, when it's cold, you know you're doing something right because you're playing later in the season.
We appreciate New York Subs for sponsoring those weather reports with our pregame show is, of course, brought to you by Cavender's Boots with 3 Dallas locations. There's a Cavender's near you. All right, so we've talked about last week's game. We talked about the Scots as they've matured through this season. Let's take a look at the Region 2 playoff bracket. We've got a couple different looks at these brackets here. First of all, Highland Park's part of Region 2 as they're taking on Frisco Wakeland this evening after a win against New Caney last week. College Station beat McKinney North 49-10. Frisco Lone Star, that was last Thursday. They handled Dallas Adams, no problem. So it's Highland Park against Frisco Wakeland here, and let's go ahead and stay. Great job here by Bill Davies, our graphics guy. Good-looking graphic here. Let's go ahead and stay with this in the area, Region 2. Let's go back to that other one. There it is. College Station against Lone Star. The winner of this game tonight, Highland Park and Frisco Wakeland, will play the winner of College Station and Frisco Lone Star, and that game will be a doozy.
No, yeah, and don't get me wrong. You don't want to look past your opponent this week, and good thing we're not on the field, so we can do that looking at College Station and Frisco Lone Star. College Station, we've talked about them a couple of times this season. They're a senior-led group. Stop me if you've heard this before. Coach's son as the quarterback.
Yeah.
Multiple wide receivers are seniors, have been with the program for a while, so they're a high-powered offense, as you see 49-10 last week against McKinney North. And Frisco Lone Star, they have one of the best quarterbacks in the Dallas area in Garrett Rangel, and they are littered with athletes over there at Frisco Lone Star. So that should be a high-powered game between those two, and whoever makes it through that gauntlet should be ready to face the winner of this game next week.
It certainly should be an exciting Region 2, and this part of the bracket in particular, Highland Park, College Station, Frisco Lone Star, you're talking about 3 of the top 5 teams in the state of Texas, just in this portion of the Region 2 alone. This is the Cavender's Boots pregame show, your headquarters for boots, jeans, and other authentic Western wear. We'll certainly be giving you updates on College Station and Frisco Lone Star throughout the evening. Let's take a look at the other side of this Region 2 5A Division 1 playoff bracket, and that includes Magnolia West, Lancaster, Longview, and Denton Ryan. Ryan took care of W.T. White. Magnolia West, which I thought was a relatively surprising score there, the way they beat up on Tyler, a team that we came to respect over the course of the season. Certainly we know Lancaster's a good team. Also good to see Longview win out of our league here. So the top 2 teams from each 7-5A and 8-5A move on. I want to get your thoughts first on Denton Ryan, who, according to Dave Campbell, Texas football right now is the #1 team in Texas. Ryan against Magnolia West. That should be an interesting game.
Yeah, it should be an interesting game. I really do think this region is Ryan's to lose. They just keep on having a system, and they have a program there that just produces guys left and right who are just ready to play at the next level. And we've seen that last season when we faced them. They have a whole new set of guys coming in this season. And, I mean, it's really baffling how many guys they've lost last season, and they're still just as good, if not better, this season.
Now, the one thing that I will say about Denton Ryan in terms of comparing them to Highland, or comparing them to the other teams that Highland Park played against, and obviously a lot of work left to do for both of those teams to potentially play against each other. A long, long way to go. But for Dallas area fans here, as you look at Denton Ryan, they don't have the same kind of downfield passing game that they had last year. And I think Seth Hennigan made a big difference for them, really finally putting them into that championship caliber of program. There's no question they have had the talent level out there to get it done, but you got to look at Highland Park beating them 3 out of 4. Obviously, Ryan did beat Highland Park last year. First time we'll say it on this broadcast this year. I'm not sure we ever got to it, but Braden Shager lost his teeth and was injured in that game against Denton Ryan. And I think if that game plays out, 8 or 10 times, I think you could see maybe 5 wins for each side potentially. But very interesting there between Ryan and Magnolia West. Back to a couple Dallas area schools here with Lancaster, and then going out east to Longview. That's an interesting one, and a couple of teams that Highland Park and their fans got really familiar with these last 2 district alignments.
Yeah, and this other matchup, Lancaster versus Longview, if there's anything I know about these teams, they're pretty similar in that they're both very hot and cold. They'll come out, it seems that they will rise up to the occasion, and they also play down to their opponents from time to time. We saw a Longview team take our Highland Park Scots kind of to the wire in that game, and then the next week, what do? They have a dub, or they have like a flub, They don't play as well. And Lancaster, they seem kind of like that same team where they'll rise up to the occasion, but they'll also play down to their opponent. So you never know what you're going to get with either of those teams.
I think what's interesting about those two as well with Lancaster, I think maybe for them, sometimes a little bit too much sizzle, maybe not enough steak.
Yeah.
And for Longview, maybe too much steak and not enough sizzle. I'd like to see them throw the ball down the field just a little bit more to guys like Jalen Hale. So very interesting contrast of styles there between 2 interesting teams as this Region 2 bracket is taking shape. This is the Cavender's Boots pregame show. We're going to take a quick break as we've got Highland Park and Frisco Wakeland getting ready to go here behind us as you're watching Scott Football presented by Game On Sports.
Oh, say, little doggies, why don't you lay down? Lay down, little doggies, lay down.
It's not just what we wear. We are Cavenders. And this is how we live.
Since 1912, Vista Bank has proudly supported the Texas tradition of Friday Night Lights. As the winningest program in the history of Texas high school football, the Highland Park Scots know what it takes to win. Whether you're with the team, in the band, a cheerleader, or a bell, Vista Bank applauds your sacrifice and your commitment to the winning traditions of Highland Park football. Time to make your move, and we know you will because tradition never graduates. Vista Bank, people first.
With almost 100 offices across the state of Texas and 50 of them in the DFW area alone, Capital Title is here to serve you. Made by Texans, for Texans. Capital Title is the largest independent title company in the United States. We are Dallas-born, Dallas-based, and family-owned. We support the Highland Park Scots.
When I think Lexus, I automatically think Sewell.
When I look at a license plate that says just Lexus, I'm like, oh, that's good for you. When I see a Sewell on it, I'm like, you know what I know.
I show up and I have my crew with me. They acknowledge me and they acknowledge my children, maybe give them a high five.
You get more than you expect. You get the wow factor at Sewell.
Discover our wide variety of new and L-certified Lexus vehicles at Sewell Lexus.
Welcome back to the Cavender's Boots pregame show with 3 Dallas locations. There's a Cavender's near you. We're here at Allen Eagle Stadium. My name is Miles Duncan alongside Jeremy Beadling. By the way, we got to give a quick shout out to our guys, Will Washington and Coach David Clark. They couldn't be here tonight. Same with Madison Lambert. It'll be me and Jeremy holding it down all evening. We're glad to be here with you.
We're riding the bus. We're here for you.
That's right. As you know me, if you're a viewer at home, I'm certainly riding with Highland Park football, and we're glad to have Jeremy Beadling along for the ride, as we're gonna have Frisco, Wakeland, and Highland Park behind us here in the area round of the playoffs. Let's go ahead and put back up our season schedule for Highland Park. Take a look at how we got here in 2021 as the Scots lost that opening round game against South Lake Carroll. 10 consecutive wins for HP. Jeremy, what stands out to you about that back half of the season?
You know, the back half of the season, what really stands out to me is the fact that, you know, they got a lot of hard games out of the way in the beginning. You know, Flower Mound, they're a good team. Rockwall, they're a good team. Sherman, they put up a fight. But, you know, whenever they came back, they played Tyler, West Mesquite, Wiley East, guys who, you know, you could look over. You could be like, we've got this in the bag. We saw Highland Park come out and really play their best against some of those teams, and obviously you see West Mesquite putting up 60 points. They scored 28. If it wasn't for a couple of those trick play tight end seam routes down the middle, we might have a 60-14 game in that one. So just the fact that they kind of respected these teams that may not have been up to par with some of the other competition that they've played really shows a lot about this team and kind of what they learned from that first loss against South Lake Carroll.
Check out the new JRC and Sons collection of handmade boots only at Cavender's. We got a special treat for you guys at home this week as we put together a season highlight of how we got here in 2021. And let's go ahead and take a look at that. Highlights from each game, starting here with South Lake Carroll, and we got a little taste of what Brennan Storer can do.
You know, just being able to create outside the pocket, extend plays, and then, you know, Jay Cox, he's been one of the best receivers on this team. And, you know, out of the backfield has been a big threat, as we've seen on this play.
All right, and then another play here from Brennan Storer to Jay Cox as these guys really established themselves early on in the season. This one here against Flower Mound.
Yeah, and like we've said, they have a great connection, and they've been able to use that all season. And then we have, like we said, that turnaround game against Coppell. They've been pounding the rock, which opens this beautiful play action to Crosdale.
And then this was maybe the play of the season against the Rockwall Yellow Jackets. They had the pick six. They spiked the football 15 yards forward, and John Rutledge took it to the house, changing the complexion of that football game.
I mean, the electricity in the air. If you could take me back to that moment, I would do it in a heartbeat.
All right, and then here's Jack Curtis. We're going to see a couple plays from big number 95. Nobody better in the Dallas area than that man, tracking down a Sherman Bearcat. And here he is with a strip, and then George Wright, the scoop and score against Longview.
And that was huge coming out of the second half. They had played really tight in the first half. To get that quick touchdown in the second half, that was huge.
And then they exploded against McKinney North. That big first half output, a couple looks here, twice as nice to number 2, John Rutledge.
No, yeah, great concentration by Rutledge there. He's really established himself as the number 1 receiver on this team, and it shows why.
And then another defensive play here. This will be the tip by J.T. Withers, and then Blake Bevins with the interception.
Oh, yeah, and I believe you talked to him after the game, as we're about to see. Great interception coming back, but I mean, didn't come without a price on that one. He said he felt that one later on in the evening.
And then we're going to see another Blake Bevins highlight here is Philip Beetrell, one of those depth guys coming off the edge, blocked this extra point try. This was a turning point out there at Mesquite ISD.
Yeah, Mesquite had just scored. It wasn't a close game yet, but I mean, a 3-point swing right there, blocking the kick and bringing it back for 2 points. That's a huge turnaround play after a score. And then as we see right here, in the heat of the fire, Storer delivering to John Rutledge.
Look at the speed.
The breakaway speed. Nobody's catching that man.
Even with angles, no chance to catch John Rutledge. We're going to get another look at it here, by the way. Kind of an underrated catch there on Rutledge. That defender from Wiley East knew they were in trouble. The moment Rutledge got out the back gate, the 200-meter star showing it off there. And then here's another big-time effort run by Ben Crosdale.
Oh, yeah, and like I said, Coach Allen said he loves the different utilities that he has with his running backs. Crosdale being kind of the power rusher of the group, and he shows it right here, going right in between the tackles, not being afraid of contact. Kind of, it's like even if somebody gets a hand on him, it's nothing. Easy stiff arm right there to the crib.
Your headquarters for boots, jeans, and other authentic Western wear. This is the Cavender's Boots pregame show as we just took a look at the 2021 season in review. Highland Park winning 10 consecutive games to make it to this point in the season, as it is the area round of the playoffs. Jeremy Beadling here with Miles Dunklin. The area round has been a good one for Highland Park. Let's take a look at the Scots results here in the area round of the playoffs, as they have been successful every round dating back to 2015, the last time they were a 6A team, a loss against Waco Midway at AT&T Stadium. And since then, really good stuff. Frisco Independence, they blew them out of the water. 4 touchdowns for John Stephen Jones against McKinney North in 2017. A demolition of the Bulldogs in that one, 73-20. HP had 38 first downs. Paxton Alexander, that's a fun name for Scott fans. 227 total yards in that one. And then it was a really close game between Highland Park and the College Station Cougars. That was down at Waco ISD Stadium. Those that were there that day will remember the wind was extreme. Just a 28-20 win. Maybe a little bit more than that margin would show, as like I said, it was a very close game given the conditions that day. But Chandler Morris, of course, now starting at TCU. By the way, we're proud of Chandler. 73-yard touchdown and an 86-yard touchdown in that one. And then they took on Magnolia. That game was at AT&T Stadium. Anybody that remembers that one remembers Magnolia was praised for their big offensive line, a couple of D1 guys, a big-time running back. Very similar, by the way, to the Frisco Wakeland team that we will see tonight. A prolific rusher, a big offensive line, and Highland Park put it on him behind Chandler Morris. 5 touchdowns, 63-28 over Magnolia. And then last year, this is the first time Highland Park had played at, what is it, Globe Life Park or Globe Life Field? You're going to have to help me out there.
It is going to be Globe Life Field.
Globe Life Field, says Jeremy Beadling.
Yes.
If he's wrong, you can hold him to that.
I was at the game. I was manning one of the cameras, and I do have to say, Jack Curtis, he was on one that game. As you see, 3 sacks, and I specifically remember that game because they did have a very shifty, mobile quarterback and a huge tight end that were pretty much neutralized by this Scott defense.
Yeah, Braylon Braxton's been one of my favorites around here the last couple of years in terms of underrated prospects, and certainly Jack Curtis tied him up a couple of times in that one. There you get a good look at Jack Curtis on the left, George right there, as well as Grant Gibson in the middle, and then there's John Rutledge on the outside. And Jeremy, those 4 guys have been tremendous captains for Highland Park. Definitely made us proud.
Yeah, they've all had kind of like their highlight moments of the season. You know, Jack Curtis and George Wright coming together in that Longview game for that strip sack, pickup, fumble for a touchdown, and Rutledge on many occasions, whenever the offense has been down and they've needed a big play, it seems like Rutledge comes up and he makes that big play for him.
And like I said, we're certainly proud of those guys. Another guy I wanted to mention of that we're really proud of right now, James Herring was the Ivy League Defensive Player of the Week last week. I think we have a graphic for James Herring. Of course, he made the legendary tackle against Jalen Preston in 2017 at AT&T Stadium. We're so proud of James and his little brother playing here at Highland Park. The Ivy League Defensive Player of the Week last week, 2 interceptions and 6 tackles for Harvard. And it's great to see a guy like James carrying the torch for the Scots to the next level.
Another tremendous link in the chain right there for him.
Well said, Jeremy. All right, a couple more things we want to get to here in the Cavender's Boots pregame show. Let's first talk about these 2 head coaches. Let's start with Randy Allen, the iconic fedora, of course, but there's so much to it under the hat for Randy Allen. 40th season as head coach at SMU, graduate, lettered in both football and baseball at SMU. A little known fact, I think, about him. And I mean, what else is there to say about the man in the hat?
I mean, it's not a typo down there. 424, 91, and 6. Miles, I don't think I've ever won anything 424 times. I don't think I've won tic-tac-toe 424 times, let alone a football game. You know, that is something incredible, something mind-boggling, and I can't even wrap my head around that.
And a nice way to say it probably this week is both these coaches are veterans of the sport, some 2 long tenured guys. let's talk about Marty Secord as well over there at Frisco Wakeland. By the way, he coached for Randy Allen when they were on the staff together out there at Abilene Cooper. His 16th year as head coach, so a 20-year man and a 16-year man going head-to-head here.
No, yeah, I mean they were coaching together whenever the playbooks were stone tablets. So it was quite the time back then. But you know, as you said, both of these head coaches very experienced, very tenured. They've been together, or they've both coached so many years. 39th for Marty Secord. This should be an exciting game, and something that you should see in both these teams is that it should be a well-coached game on either side. You know, they've been here before. They know what this moment is.
No question. There's a lot of experience for both of those guys, a lot of familiarity, as Coach Secord is also extremely familiar with Grayson Wells and many of the other guys on the staff here at Highland Park. That's going to do it for our Cavender's Boots pregame show on this evening. Highland Park and Frisco Wakeland ready to get after it in just a few minutes. Football is next. Hey, Cookie, tell us when we're off camera, because we're giving an awkward smile.
I'm a link in the chain. I am a link in the chain.
I am a link in the chain.
I'm a link in the chain.
I'm a link in the chain.
I'm a link in the chain. I'm a link in the chain.
I am a link in the chain. I am a link in the chain. I'm a link in the chain.
I'm a link in the chain.
I'm a link in the chain.
I am a link in the chain.
When you play one of us, you play all of us.
One down, potentially 5 more to go. Highland Park passed the first test of the second season with a win last week. But test number 2 comes tonight in one of the state's most spectacular venues. It's the Highland Park Scots and the Frisco Wakeland Wolverines, presented by Game On Sports. Kickoff is next.
When it's time to ball. The city's behind us. We giving you love. We ready whenever. The world is watching. The time is now. No other option. This is our moment. This is our time. The time is now. It's time to rise.
Welcome here to Allen Eagle Stadium as Highland Park takes the field, ready for the area round of the playoffs, ready to take on the Frisco Wakeland Wolverines. My name is Miles Duncan alongside Jeremy Beadling as we are high atop one of the premier facilities for high school football in America. And Jeremy, always good to be here for Scott football, especially in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, best time of the season. Like we said, it's a little chilly outside, but that's how you know you're doing well, when you're playing in some cold weather games. And this should be a great one between Highland Park and Frisco Wakeland.
We're going to pause just for a moment for the national anthem. Almost ready for some football here in Allen, Texas. There's a look at the legendary Randy Allen. We talked about him in our Cavender's Boots pregame show, an excellent matchup of veteran head coaches here between Allen and Marty Secord on the other side of the ball, a former pupil of his at Abilene Cooper. Jeremy Beadling, let's talk about the weather this evening. Should be a nice night for football, but a little chilly down there.
We have it clocked in at around kickoff at 53 degrees outside. Not much of a wind, about 5-6 miles per hour. Clear skies. It should be a perfect night for football, Miles. You know, this game, I don't see any reason why there should be anything wrong with the weather. And I think this is just an amazing night for high school football.
Weather Report is brought to us by Peggy Sue's Market. Fine Texas barbecue since 1951. Now available inside New York's Hills. Highland Park will take the football first as we're getting ready for some action here tonight. Jeremy Beadling, quickly, keys to the game for Highland Park in this one.
I think the keys to the game, really get the ground game going, and I want to see them pound the rock and then use that play action deep downfield, take some shots to Rutledge and some of those guys deep downfield.
Nolan Krinsky is the veteran kickoff man for Frisco Wakeland. He gets us underway from the 40. And the kick will go deep to the far left side. That's Jay Cox from his own 10-yard line. As we're underway here in the Sewell first quarter, Cox runs into a Wakeland defender there at the 30. A flag is down at the 38-yard line as we have our first Davidson Bogle real estate kickoff of the evening, where land is our business. And we're underway here with some football in Allen.
Yeah, that looked like a good return. It looked like kind of the seas opened up there for a second. I almost thought Cox was going to take that back to the house, but kind of closed up there at the last second at the around the 30-yard line. Now let's see what this flag is all about.
Number 93.
It's holding on the Highland Park Scots, number 93.
As HP will start back at the 18-yard line. Our referee tonight is Steve Owens. It is a Dallas chapter, and this is where the Scots will get started this evening. Brennan Storr is the quarterback. 67% completions on the year, 2,300 yards, 25 touchdowns, just 9 interceptions for the junior. He's out there with Jay Cox and Christian Reeves in the backfield, and they set up a screen to start this one. There's Christian Reeves on the catch, and Reeves will cross the 20. 11th reception of the season for Christian. Let's go ahead and set the rest of that starting offensive lineup for Highland Park. It's Lawson Petty, the law dog. I've called him now at left tackle. Gannon Gobert at left guard, the senior. It's Andrew Maroulis and Reed Kennedy splitting duties at center. Charlie Wilson Chuck at right guard. And junior Grant Gibson at right tackle. The receivers, Jackson Heiss and Luke Herring. Luke Rossley and John Rutledge on the inside. There's Christian Reeves, his first down of the day. He is the team's leading rusher. Jay Cox and Ben Crosdale will also split time in the backfield.
And something, Miles, you're going to see a lot of today is that two-back set. Randy Allen says he loves to use that with these dynamic running backs, and you're going to see a lot of motion and movement out of the backfield, kind of misdirection, send Jay Cox out wide on one play, give it to Reeves, and then maybe hit him with the swing pass later on.
Now, all those guys do a little something different. Good blockers, good receivers. And on play action, it's Storer going to keep it himself. Took a big lick right there at the 32-yard line. And that hit came in from number 32. That's Barrett Kennedy with a big lick on the Scott quarterback. Let's take a look at the New Balance replay for the first time tonight. That Preston Center location is locally owned and a proud supporter of Highland Park football. Storer lost his hat that time.
Yeah, and he's going to have to be out for one play. With the UIL rules, if you lose your helmet, you have to be out for a play.
So it is the sophomore quarterback, Warren Peck, into the game. And meaningful action here on a 2nd down and 9. Let's see if they hand it off or opt to put it in the air. And instead, Highland Park is going to take a timeout and get their junior stud, Britton Storer, back in the ballgame.
Yeah, I don't know if in this moment, in this type of game, is when you want kind of the first snaps for your sophomore quarterback to be. So smart move right there, kind of get Britton Storer back in. You want to set the tone here.
That's our first Origin Bank timeout of the evening. Bank Original with 2 convenient locations in the Park Cities. We'll take a timeout as well.
If you're looking for the definition of service, I'm sure Sewell's name is in the dictionary of service.
Discover our wide variety of new and certified pre-owned vehicles at Sewell Cadillac.
Back here at Allen Eagle Stadium, historic venue. 2nd down and 9. Quick throw right side. That one is caught on a knee by the Scott receiver. And for the first time tonight, it's number 85, Jackson Heiss, his 18th catch of the year. He leads the club with yards per reception, over 21 yards a catch on the season for the basketball player, Jackson Heiss.
Great concept there, so sending a guy low, kind of like a low-high concept. Both of them running out routes, and Jackson Heiss coming open a little bit more downfield.
Highland Park moved early that time, a rare mistake by the Scott offense. By the way, as long as we're talking about these players, we got to talk about these great coaches at Highland Park as well. The quarterbacks, coached by Coach Corey. You got Ryan Gibbs at running backs. Offensive line, Grayson Wells and James Farley do a great job with that group. They are in year 20 and year 15, respectively, at Highland Park, coaching the offensive line and running game. Receivers are coached by Max Hawsey on the outside and Colin Stringer, Highland Park alumni, on the inside. 1st and 15. They run the option. It's Storer pitching it at the 40. There's Reeves across midfield, close to the 1st down. Gannon Gobert out in front, leading the way as the Scots get back some of that penalty yardage and more.
That was a really good play design right there, Miles. They've really been trying to get to the edges on these running plays, especially on that one, the pitch option, and Storer makes the right decision right there, pitching it to Reeves.
Yeah, they really like that speed option or that load option. Handoff up the middle. It is Christian Reeves. Reeves is the bell cow between the back runner, running behind, between the tackles runner, I should say. Gannon Gobert leading the way that time. Reeves, by far and away, leads the team in attempts. He's got more than twice the number of rushing attempts than the closest player, 117 on the year, 655 yards, and Christian is now up to 13 touchdowns on the season. Whew. How about this? Just one fumble in his career. Last year, carried it 96 times. This year, 117, so that's over 200 touches with just one fumble. 1st and 10. They run the option again. Reeves leading the way. It's Storer keeping it, dragged down. They're at the 40-yard line. It's number 11. That's Gage Autry making the tackle for Frisco Wakeland.
Yeah, and like I said before, they love using the 2 running back set, and they love using Crosdale as a lead blocker. He is one of the, as Coach Allen says, one of the toughest, nastiest guys on the team, and they love utilizing that in the run game.
A couple players to watch on their defense, some two-way guys. Alex Shirley at middle linebacker, number 17. And Davian Woolen and Noah Mangum, both those guys will play both offense and defense in the secondary. Play action here for Storer. Wants the deep ball on the wheel, looking for Rutledge, and that's interference. Ooh. He caught the football at the 1 yard line, 1st and goal, Scots.
Ooh, John Rutledge said, it doesn't matter if you're going to hold me, I'm still going to catch this ball. What a great job of tracking that and being able to come back and catch the ball.
How about
on defense, that penalty decline results in play the first down.
As Steve Owens tells us, it is a first down, Scots. How about the offensive line that time? All day for Brennan Storer as the Scots are in the Shelby American red zone for the first time. Look at this replay in the pocket for Storer. They're about to snap it from the 1. The handoff to Reeves. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Scots. 14th time this season, Christian Reeves is in the end zone.
Hey, you called his name earlier in the drive. You called out the touchdowns. It's only right that he finishes this opening drive for the Scots with the touchdown. Great opening drive, mixing the run and the pass. And, I mean, this is exactly what you want in an opening drive of a playoff game. You took about 4 or 5 minutes off the clock, and you end it with a touchdown.
Spencer Bell is the deep snapper. John Rutledge on the hold. Sam Heinrich is the extra point man, and he has still never missed one in his Scott career. How about that drive by Highland Park? 9 plays, 82 yards, 4:09 off the clock. That drive recap is brought to you by Assert Capital Management, and there's Reeves punching it in. Actually, the 15th time this year he's been in the end zone, including 1 receiving touchdown. 14 rushing touchdowns now for Reeves.
No, yeah, it's hard for me to count that high. I only got 10 fingers, so once it gets past that, you kind of start losing count. But great opening drive by the Scots. Great run and punch in by Christian Reeves.
And that's exactly what Bobby Leidner right there in the yellow shirt and that Scott Brain Trust wants to see on that sideline. Get that early lead. They play with the lead a lot during district play, and they'll do so again here. Now, Jeremy Beadling, usually kickoffs aren't the most exciting play, especially when they're touchbacks, but Jack Stone and company have made this a must-watch for Highland Park fans. They called this kickoff coverage group the Calvary, and they have done a fantastic job this season.
And as Coach usually says up here in the booth, it's usually 2 things on a Highland Park kickoff this season. It's either going to be a touchback or it's going to be a wrong decision of them taking it out. And it's really helped this Highland Park Scott defense in putting the opposing team in bad field position to start off their drives.
Jack Stone, the Michigan State commit, swings the boot, sends it deep. This one will die at the 1 yard line and take a bad Scott bounce out of bounds. So an illegal procedure here against Highland Park as that thing went hard left after it bounced at about the 2 yard line.
That was lucky. If it just a millisecond more in bounds, the Scots might have been able to recover that and get the ball at the 3 yard line. That was, even though it went out of bounds, that was a good kick.
I think that's one you'll still kind of take every time.
Kick out of bounds on the kicking team. Ball plays at the 30-yard line. First down.
Now, my understanding is that generally Jack's trying to kick that thing through the back of the end zone, but if it does come up a little bit short because he kicks it so high, they've been able to pin teams deep. This only comes out to the 30. By the way, my personal opinion, not enough of a penalty on the kick out of bounds. I kick it out of bounds every time if you've got a big-time weapon on the other end, but Jack Stone in that kicking unit, they'd rather have it down at the 15, 20. That's what they're used to this season.
Yeah, if I was going up against the Scots, hey, do I want to give it to them on the 30 or do I want to give it to John Rutledge, Jay Cox, or Ben Croasdale? Probably going to give it to them on the 30.
We have a new starter on the defensive line for Highland Park. It's Henry Richter, the sophomore, earning a start for the first time this year. He's out there with Jurgovan and Curtis on the defensive line, as we'll see Wakeland's offense for the first time. Handoff up the middle. This is their bell cow running back. Very similar to last week. You're going to see an awful lot of number 2, and that is Jared White. What a season for Jared White. Over 20 touchdowns, 200 attempts. The guy has had a monster season.
Yeah, and it's really going to be important that the D-line and the linebackers pinch on these runs. And as you see, George Wright coming up to the line before the snap right here.
2nd down and 4 as they throw it right side. It's Brennan Meyer, the sophomore quarterback. He has that one complete. Blake Bevins out there on the coverage. Let's set the rest of that starting unit for Highland Park. Mason Gallus and George Wright have really been the backbone of the defense at outside linebacker. The two guys on the inside, Harrison Walton and Robert Remy. You also see a good amount of William Scribner in there on the inside. The safeties are J.T. Withers and Preston Taylor, and the corners are Adam Rourke and Blake Bevins. Defense is coordinated by Bobby Leitner. He's wearing the yellow shirt down there, calling plays. This is a direct snap here to White. Left side, dragged down there by George Wright. That'll be his 66th tackle of the season.
And that was a great job. He sniffed out the play. He saw the lead blocker, and he took on the lead blocker head on, as you see right here in this New Balance replay. He really sniffed that out and took what could have been a 4 or 5 yard gain and only made it about a 2 yard gain.
And how about this? The center for this Wakeland team is the older brother of the quarterback, Cade Meyer and Brennan Meyer.
A lot of trust right there.
Yeah, I'd say. The senior center snapping it back to his little brother at quarterback, the sophomore. Man in motion there was Cahooch. They throw it right side. That's caught right there at midfield, shy of midfield. Late blow there by Wright, but it's Scribner on the tackle up the middle. The key matchup to watch here with the Wakeland offense and the Highland Park defense, big Connor Stroh at left tackle. This guy is as big as they come. Look at number 79 there. Potentially tonight will be matched up with number 95, Jack Curtis.
Oh, and an elite matchup right there. Something I played offensive line in high school. Something that you love is an elite matchup.
On the offense, number 85 was covered up. 5 yard penalty. Remains second down.
The measurables on Connor Stroh. How's 6'7", 345 for you as a high school junior?
Oh, I think he drank his whole milk growing up as a kid. Definitely got all bit of that vitamin D in there. I mean, he's grown up to be a massive human being.
I'll say it again in case you didn't hear it. 6'7", 345. 2nd and 14. They tried to set up a screen, and Highland Park defended it well. They were looking for Davian Woolen. He's the team's leading receiver in terms of receptions on the year, just 17 for 269, as there's not really one guy that does too much heavy lifting for Wakeland. But this pass from Brennan Meyer is incomplete, and now they have the sophomore right where they want him.
Oh, and this just shows you how big of a penalty that was. Before the penalty, it was going to be 3rd and 3. Now they're looking at 3rd and 14. That's a massive swing right there.
Yeah, they had an illegal man downfield, and it's now 3rd and 14, we'll call it. Tied in the game, that's Trip Reardon, number 85 to the right. Meyer dropping back, pressured immediately, rolling right, launching this one deep, and out of bounds. Nice coverage down there by Blake Bevins, matched up on Davian Woolen. And right now, things have gone to script for the Scotties.
Yeah, as we see, it was one-on-one coverage, and he really had nowhere else to throw it to. I mean, he throw it up, but he was under some intense pressure by that Highland Park Scott pass rush, and now looks like they might go for it. They don't have the punting unit out right now.
I would imagine this will be a quick kick here from Brennan Meyer, but we'll see. I think he's going to take a step back. There it is. And Highland Park certainly aware of how this goes. You're forced to line up and defend it. And if they don't defend it, you kick it away. But this is a bad kick by Brennan Meyer. Oh, my goodness. For Frisco Wakeland, that's going to go about 9 yards. Jeremy Beadling, the sophomore quarterback. These guys that practice those quick kicks, they practice them every day. They're ready to be the punter, but this one off the side of the right foot here. Great look from the end zone.
Yeah, and I mean, that wouldn't have even gotten a first down from where it ended up. I mean, and that's kind of the risk you play with having your quarterback be the punter. I mean, Brennan Storrs has made it look really easy this season, but punting the ball is not as easy as it looks, as we've seen right there. One missed kick and the ball's only going about 8 yards downfield.
Big mistake right there for Frisco Wakeland on the 8-yard punt. They hand it to Rutledge on the end around. Rutledge has blockers out in front. Wakeland ended up getting a couple bodies to the football that time and stopped Rutledge after a gain of about 8. That's the second consecutive week he's had a carry. He had one for 19 yards last week. Look at Lawson Petty leading the way here on the New Balance replay.
Oh, great play design. And like I said, it all starts out of the 2 running back set. He sends Cox in motion one way, fakes kind of the side out, and then Rutledge comes around with the end around, and it's been a really great play calling so far for the Scots offense, really balanced.
Yeah, no better play caller in the state than Randy Allen. As they roll right, Brennan Storer in some trouble, now navigates out of it. Brennan toward the sideline, now back toward the field of play. He'll pick up a first down for Highland Park. And boy, I really like that play from Brennan Storer. Picked up 233 yards this year, 3.5 on the average as a rusher, and 5 times in the end zone. But the last 3 weeks, they've really got him running the football a lot more.
Yeah, and I think it's been kind of a maturity factor from Storer, not trying to force balls in when it's not there, saying, hey, my reads aren't open, I'm going to put the ball down and I'm going to run for what I can.
Great job. This coaching staff's getting him ready every single week. It's Jay Cox, left side. Cox with a nice move. He'll be ushered out of bounds there by Noah Mangum, one of the starters, one of the stars and captains, two-way starters for Frisco Wakeland. But HP on the move again. This Sewell first quarter has been superb for Highland Park.
It's been exactly what you want. And so far, I mean, if you look at the total yards so far, Highland Park 101, Frisco Wakeland 14. I mean, you can't write it up any better than that, Miles.
Yeah, 5 first downs for the Scots, just 1 so far for the Wolverines. They throw it right side, a wide open receiver at the 20, inside the 15. Move the chains again. The whole right side of the offensive line doing a great job right there as they get that one complete once again. That's the second catch of the day for Jackson Heiss.
And it puts them right back into the Shelby American red zone. And that, I mean, every single play that I've seen on offense for the Highland Park Scots so far has been a positive play. They're moving the ball down the field methodically, and that's exactly what you want in the first quarter of a playoff game.
Yeah, with the exception of one false start, they've been pretty much perfect. And that one didn't go well either. The curse of the broadcaster, as they say, as Reeves takes it right side and is swarmed. Number 17, I already told you about Alex Shirley. He'll make a lot of plays both ways. He'll play tight end for the Wolverines as well. He made the stop that time.
And this is going to be really interesting to see what the Scots do in the red zone. I mean, they've been a pretty good red zone team so far this season. You know, being able to run the ball has been a big part of that, and especially in those 2 running back sets. I wonder if Crosdale gets the ball here down in the red zone, because we do know Randy Allen likes him as their tough physical runner.
6 touchdowns on the year for Crosdale. They run the option again. Storer keeping it at the 10. There is a flag down in the area of a hold. The Scott coaches are hot. The flag also came out. The beanbag came out. Maybe a fumble by Brennan Storer as they unpile some bodies. Who has the football? Haven't seen an indication yet from the referee. I'm not sure we've seen the white hat point either way yet, have we? That's the man whose opinion matters the most. Now both teams are going to their sidelines.
On the play, holding against the offense, number 76. That penalty decline. Result of the play, first down, Wakeland.
All right, so Steve Owens says it was a fumble. An Advantage Healthcare Systems turnover for the first time today. We'll get another look at it.
Yeah, and it was one of those speed options again, and looks like Storer kept it, and that set 17 for Frisco Wakeland again, as you said, making plays, and it looks like the ball just popped up and a scrum right there at the end.
Yeah, Alex Shirley forced the fumble. They throw it quickly left side, does Frisco Wakeland. That's a catch. That's their slot receiver. That's Ashton Kahooch. And for Kahooch, that is his 17th catch of the season. He leads Wakeland in receiving yards as just a sophomore, and that was the 45th tackle of the season for the excellent safety, Preston Taylor.
And this is another big drive for this Highland Park defense. You know, it's a momentum swing whenever you have a turnover, and you really want to get the ball back.
And a new quarterback in the game. Brennan Meyer is out. Will Shortenboer is in. They hand it off left side. White is stood up immediately. George Wright out there. The ball came out. Curtis scooped and scored, but they say the whistle was blown first. Let's take another look at this one.
Yeah, just a gang of Scots. George Wright kind of keeps him up, and you see 3, 4, 5 guys come into the play, but it looks like they whistled forward progress right there before the ball could come out.
Well, if I'm an offensive player against Highland Park and I kind of get stood up at the line, my number one thought has got to be ball security.
Protect that ball.
As you know, guys like Curtis and Wright are raking at the football. So far, nowhere to go for Jared White in this one. He has been a big-time player in his career for Wakeland.
Oh, and it looks like
Meyer is back out there, and he short-armed that one. The sophomore quarterback has been harassed early and often by the Scots. Harrison Walton on the play that time. And now young Brennan Meyer is going to face another 3rd down and long.
Yeah, interesting choice, kind of switching in the quarterbacks right there just for one play. I wonder what was going on down there. But, yeah, not an ideal situation for a sophomore quarterback with 3rd and long. And that's exactly where the Scots want to put this Frisco Wakeland offense at is 3rd and long.
And the Scots go to a couple of their subs, some of their speed guys on defense. Spencer Brown and Kyle Carlson in the game. Carlson in at nose as Jack Curtis goes out to defensive end. Meyer stepping up. He needs the 28. He's got it and more. 1st down. Wakeland, just their 2nd 1st down of the game, but after the fumble, they needed to turn that drive into something positive, get at least 1 1st down. Credit right there to the sophomore quarterback. Just 80 rushing yards on the season, but enough to get the 1st down there.
Yeah, it looked like the Scots were playing man-to-man, and they sent George Wright in on a blitz. Wasn't able to quite get there, but that's kind of the thing whenever you're playing man and you don't have a spy on the quarterback. If you can't get to him on the initial blitz, there's kind of a wide-open lane for him, and Meyer took advantage of it.
Philip Beetrell's in the game at corner, top of your screen. They've been rotating those guys in. Meyer wants to throw here. Curtis pushed him out of the pocket. Rolling right, he'll flip it at the last second. That's his tight end, Trip Reardon. Reardon met by a whole host of blue jerseys as well. Mason Gallus, the first man to him. Gallus has been so productive, a players committee member. 47 solo stops on the season. That leads Highland Park. 8 tackles last week, and he is a fearless man on the outside of that linebacking core. Good look right there at Mason. Scots maybe jump, but Frisco Wakeland goes check with me as they look at the sideline. No penalty in here. Another sub on the defensive line as Wilson Roberts is out there. Quick throw, left side. That's the sophomore slot man. A couple of nice moves. Was able to lose Adam Rourke for a second. George Wright eventually tracked him down, but Ashton Kahooch makes another catch, his 18th of the season.
Yeah, and as I'm looking at the scoreboard right now, it looks like this first quarter has just kind of flown by. And, 7-0 game at the end of the first quarter. Looks like we're going to get one more play here by Frisco Wakeland.
Obviously, the big mistake by Highland Park was the fumble. Otherwise, the first quarter was going great. A couple more subs in defensively here on the line for Highland Park. 10 seconds left here in this first quarter by Sewell. Throw at the 40. It's Harrison Walton chasing Kahooch out of bounds again. 4 seconds left here in this opening quarter, and let's see if that'll do it for the first period here in Allen. Get a good look there at Adam Rourke. He has been playing so well for Highland Park. 50 tackles now on the year for Adam. Had that big game against Wiley East. 2 pass breakups, an INT, and a tackle for loss. We will have one more play here in this first period. And they hand it off on the power play. Left side, nice hit there by Scrivener. Scrivener a little bit heavier in the middle of that linebacking core. Able to make the hit there on Jared White as the first quarter expires. All things said and done, I think Frisco Wakeland has to feel all right about the position they're in. Scott's feeling good as well as they lead it 7-0 here in Allen. You're watching Highland Park football, presented by Game On Sports.
Determination on the field breeds determination in life. Discipline needed on the court will be the same discipline that gets the job done. That's why Tailwater Capital is a proud supporter of the Highland Park Athletic Program, the winningest athletic program in the state of Texas. 11 Lone Star Cups, 112 state championships, and a commitment to excellence that serves its players for a lifetime. From the locker room to the boardroom, Scots find a way.
That's the sound of the quickest production sports car in the world today, the Cobra.
So remarkably fast, they soon move out of range of the camera helicopter.
My name's Carroll Shelby, and performance is my business.
Back here as we start second quarter action between Highland Park and Frisco Wakeland here at Allen Eagle Stadium. 8-2 Wolverines against the 10-1 Scots. Rolling right, it's Meyer stepping through a tackle there by Curtis, and he'll pick up a handful to the right. Nice job right there by Brennan Meyer. When I talked to the defensive coordinator, Bobby Leitner, he kind of likened Meyer to a shortstop playing quarterback, crafty slinger out there, the sophomore.
Yeah, and I mean, Coach Leitner, he really has this offense, this defense working hard. And right now, as you see this beautiful shot of Allen Stadium, one of the biggest in Texas, opened in 2012. Allen, fun fact, huge home field advantage. They're 122-1 at home, Miles.
Yeah, they lost their first game this season, as that's an inside handoff. Let's take one more look at that graphic if we can. $60 million it took to build this palace of high school football. 18,000 people can get in the venue, about 5,000 parking spots as well. Of course, Allen, state champions 2012, 2013, 2014, and 2017. And how about this for Scott fans, their new head coach here in Allen? None other than our friend, Chad Morris.
Yeah, and 2012, 2013, 2014, who can forget the Kyler Murray years?
Yep, one of the greatest in the history of Texas high school football played right here on this field. All right, it's a big 3rd down and 6 for Frisco Wakeland. They need the 22-yard line. Over the middle, they have that first down and a lot more inside the 10. Able to slip that tight end out. It was Tripp Reardon. That's his 15th catch of the season. They don't use him a whole lot, but they do in the red zone. 4 touchdowns on the year for the big fella.
And they must have seen some footage from that Highland Park versus West Mesquite game, because that's what gave them trouble mostly on defense in that game, was that tight end seam route going up the middle. But later on, Coach Leitner, the defense were able to figure it out. Let's see if they're able to figure it out here in the red zone, the Shelby American red zone.
Scots have done a great job in the red area all season. A little bit of a different look here from Wakeland as they go with twin tight ends. Jared White with a direct snap. White toward the end zone. He's into the end zone. 25th rushing touchdown of the year for Jared White. And Frisco Wakeland is an extra point away from tying this thing up.
Miles, we have ourselves a game here. As you said, Jared White, he is the X factor for this Frisco Wakeland offense, and they showed it right there, giving it directly to him in the Wildcat on that snap.
Nothing fancy about it. 2 tight ends. They ran behind a 345-pound left tackle into the end zone for the 25th time this year for Jared White. Extra point is up and in by number 38, Jonathan Tripode. And we've got a tie game. We appreciate our sponsors all across the board. Our extra points brought to you by Brett Kennedy. Brett Kennedy and Peter McGuire with the Kensington Vanguard National Title Group. And so far, Bank of Texas second quarter has been owned by Frisco Wakeland. Boy, you look at the Scots knocking on the door to make it 14-0. Big turnover on the Store fumble, and then a terrific drive by Frisco Wakeland as they go 12 plays, 94 yards, 5 minutes and 1 second off the clock. And those drive recaps, as always, are brought to us by Assert Capital Management.
And Miles, this is going to be a really interesting drive right here, because Wakeland honestly has not been able to stop this Scott offense. They got the fumble on that last drive, but as far as moving the ball down the field, the Scots have really been able to do whatever they want.
94 of the 107 yards that Frisco Wakeland has came on that last drive, as Highland Park stopped him in the first one. And then could not stop Wakeland from driving down the field there. Big play, I think, was the catch by Tripp Reardon over the middle on a big third down as Wakeland kicks it deep here, trying to keep it away from John Rutledge. They'll kick it to Jay Cox here on the sideline. Cox with running room up the sideline. Lowers his shoulder at the 40 into the kicker. Nice job by Nolan Krinsky to at least stick his nose in there and slow him up. But Jay Cox and Highland Park, they love those sideline returns, Jeremy. They want to set those up on the sideline. You can see some players running over to the sideline to try to set it up, and they'll have great field position.
And you said they want to keep it away from John Rutledge, but he goes up and he sets a key block on that return right there, even though he wasn't able to get the ball himself.
They really do not want John Rutledge touching it on the kickoffs, and you can see that by how directional those kickoffs have been. Store, play action. Wanted a deep ball, now he escapes right. Brennan to the midfield logo, he'll slide down there. Brennan maybe needs to work on that slide just a little bit. Kind of came to a knee, it was good enough to keep him safe there.
Got to bring out the slip and slide.
That's right. Highland Park will start this drive with Christian Reeves there alongside Jay Cox in the backfield. Luke Rossley at the moment is the inside receiver. As usual, we've got Herring and Heiss on the outside. Heiss to the right, Herring at that X receiver spot on the left. Second down and 5 here for the Scotties. They keep it on the ground. It's Jay Cox trying to get to the outside. Navigated through a few defenders. It did well to pick up the 45, but he'll still lose a yard. That was defended beautifully that time by Frisco Wakeland.
Yeah, they really try to get on the outside on those stretch run plays, kind of having a lead blocker with the other running back in that two-back set. But right there, Frisco Wakeland were able to sniff it out. They all flowed to that side, and there was no really cutback lane for Cox on that one.
The Frisco Wakeland fans on that far sideline, they can sense the importance of this 3rd down and 6 by Highland Park, and it is a big one early. They go with the two-back set. Rutledge into the game, slot to the left. That one came into Store on the ground. He gets rid of it. There's Rossley at midfield. He lost the football, but they're going to say Rossley was down right there at the 45. Now we're going to need another look at this one as Brennan Store with some magic.
You know what this reminds me of right here, Miles, is some vintage Brett Favre rolling out, kind of you think he's about to run, last second, flips it to his inside receiver. And I mean, it's just the playmaking, the ability to stretch the play. That's kind of what you love, even though sometimes it comes back to bite him. But I mean, this young quarterback has had some great plays throughout the season.
Handoff, Jay Cox, running room out in front. They got a couple of good blockers. Lawson Petty leading the way. Pulling from that left side. I believe they call that a dart as that left tackle takes off. And you're going to see 76 came all the way across the formation there to get a good block and spring Jay Cox. The Scots are on the move again.
Let me tell you, if you're a linebacker, the last thing you want to see is a pulling 300-ish pound lineman with a head full of steam coming right at you.
And these days, Lawson Petty is clocking in about 285, 290. Prototypical left tackle. They fake the option. They want the corner route. It's incomplete. Looking for Herring over there. Now, Luke Herring, been a big play target this year for the Scots. 5 touchdowns, had the long of 46 against Coppell, but 18 catches, 298 yards. And those big boys have been extremely unselfish on the perimeter. Every time I talk to Max Hawsey, he tells me how much those guys want to win and how much they want to block. And that's not something you hear a whole lot from outside receivers.
Yeah, not really. I mean, no prima donnas on this team.
Especially that group, Heiss and Herring. They've had a couple 0 for weeks, and apparently no complaining. They just want wins. David Meany's into the game, left side as they hand it off. Nice push there by Crosdale. You talked about the way he can be the hammer to the nail, and right there crosses the 35 for a first down.
And I mean, it's all kind of built off of that one play by Store, that beautiful flip on 3rd down. As we have an injury timeout, somebody on Frisco Wakeland is down.
Yeah, and if Highland Park goes on to win this game, we can definitely go back. In fact, I'm going to tell Brian Lockhead in our booth, circle that one by Brennan Store as one for the highlight, as Maybe a little Johnny Manziel on that one, too. Some chaos taking place, no doubt, on that play as the ball came in on the ground and found a way to get the ball to Luke Rossley. There is a Frisco Wakeland player down at the moment. There's a good look at Randy Allen. And let's talk about these two coaches in this one, if we can put up our graphic that we have on the great Randy Allen here for just a moment. He and Marty Secord on the other side of the field. They've been very familiar with each other for a long time. They coached together at Abilene Cooper. And Randy Allen, obviously a legend here at Highland Park. And how about this for Marty Secord? He worked for Randy Allen and G.A. Moore, the top two guys ever on that wins list in Texas high school football history.
Oh, I mean, amazing coaches on both sides. Experience more than we'll see in probably any other matchup this playoffs.
Yeah, no question between some two veteran coaches. They give it left side. That's Crosdale. Crosdale running room across the 20. The ball came out late there as well. Does Wakeland have it? They do. Boy, I think there's a good chance that Crosdale was down. We'll certainly get another look at it on the Henry S. Miller replay. This would be a big bummer, as it would be the Scott's second fumble inside that Shelby American red zone. Here we go on the Henry S. Miller replay.
Yeah, he had great running room. It, as you said, blocking downfield, but
no look at it right there.
Yeah.
There was no real petition from the Scots on the near sideline that he did not fumble. The Scots work a whole lot on ball security. I'll tell you, they don't even use what Ryan Gibbs calls the F word around Highland Park, fumble. They talk about ball security, not fumbling. As they roll left here on the play action. This young quarterback to the 15. It's Brennan Meyer. And Wakeland, their defense has got to feel fortunate right now. This is a Highland Park offense that has rarely put the ball on the carpet, and they've done it twice here in the first half in scoring position.
Yeah, and like I said, the only thing that's been able to stop the Scott offense so far tonight has been themselves. They've been able to move the ball whenever they want to. It's just the F word has kind of come back and hurt them.
2nd down and 2 after a creative first down play. They go 5 wide, does Frisco Wakeland. Meyer rolling left, pressured there by Curtis. Curtis is going to swarm him down right there at the 18-yard line. It won't go as a sack, but once number 95's got you in his mitts, you ain't going anywhere. That was the 64th tackle of the year for Jack.
As you see right here in this replay, tracked him down. That closing speed, scary by Jack Curtis.
Yeah, he is quite a weapon. Jack Curtis, 8 sacks, 41 quarterback pressures on the season. 4 forced fumbles, recovered 2 of them, and batted down 3 passes as well, as he has been stuffing the stat sheet. Daniel Shavers back in there at nose guard for a big 3rd down and 2. A couple of tight ends. That's the backup quarterback right there, number 12. He takes the snap. I saw that coming. The Scott defense did too, but Frisco Wakeland still able to pick it up. I like that creativity. Well, I saw Kansas City do the exact same thing the other night with Blake Bell, one of their tight ends that used to be a quarterback, and right there, Stoenboer able to pick up the first down. The backup quarterback also plays a little bit of tight end.
Yeah, and
Strotenboer, I should say.
We've seen many a times in the next level, quarterbacks who have gone on to play other positions kind of been utilized in offenses in creative ways.
They hand it off left side. This is the backup tailback. It's Noah Mangum, and he went the wrong direction. William Scribner has been playing some great ball lately. Didn't get the kind of playing time he wanted to in the middle of the season, but 19 tackles the last 3 weeks, and Scribner, a little bit heavier linebacker, like I said, plays those runs well, and boy, did he right there as Noah Mangum had nowhere to go.
What is that, a 5-yard loss? I mean, that was a great play by the Scots, being able to get in the backfield and really give him no yards at all.
Set up a 2nd down and 15 here, and that's certainly been their recipe. Get Frisco Wakeland behind the sticks. Wakeland's going to have to burn a timeout here, I believe, as they ran a man on very late. 1 second, 0 seconds. That should have been a delay of game. The Scott sidelines can't like that one as they threw it right side. I thought there was no way they were either set and/or had the playoff in time. I'd like to see that one back on replay, as this should be 2nd and 20. Instead, the Scots might take it. It's 3rd and 15 after the incompletion.
Yeah, as Miles just said, it looks like the clock hit 0 right before they snapped it. It should have been a delay of game, but, I mean, the Scots will take it at 3rd and 15. Another long 3rd down for this Frisco Wakeland offense. Let's see if the Scott defense can get off the field.
They have been excellent in these positions all year. They flex their outside linebackers out to give a little bit more help in pass coverage. Play action here for Brennan Meyer. Hit as he throws, lobbing this one deep. It is incomplete. A flag came in really before the ball arrived. The flag was thrown. I think they're going to get the Scots for a hold here. It's either on Bevins or Taylor.
Holding on defense, number 31. 10 yards in the pre-spot, automatic 1st down.
So it did come in before the ball arrived, just like I thought. So it's a hold and not a pass interference. The only difference is 5 yards. Regardless, it is a 1st down for Frisco Wakeland. And with 3:44 remaining in this first half, Jeremy Beadling, Frisco Wakeland has a chance to go down and take the lead, although the Scots have moved the ball at will in this one.
Yeah, I mean, this first half has really flown by here.
Blitz from off the edge. The ball is loose, and that might be a break for the Scots. Brennan Meyer able to hop on the football, but not before a loss of 10. And they'll be 2nd down and 20.
Yeah, and I'd really love to see the Scots get the ball back here and kind of test out their 2-minute offense. I mean, they've had multiple opportunities to run that so far this season, but really, especially in the playoff time, this is where you really want to be able to execute on that 2-minute drill, Miles.
That was a misconnection there between the two brothers. Cade Meyer, the older brother, at center, and the little brother, Brennan Meyer, at quarterback. 2nd down and 20. We'll see if Wakeland can dig themselves out of this hole. Inside handoff. It's White, and he got back a big majority of that yardage. It'll be a 3rd down and 6 as Jack Curtis makes the tackle well down the field.
Oh, yeah, and another big 3rd down right here. It's looks like a 3rd down and 6, but let's see if the Scott defense can get some pressure and get off the field. Maybe give the Scott offense one more shot in the first half.
Good look there at Brennan Meyer, sophomore quarterback. They'll go check with me and look at the veteran coaching staff for Frisco Wakeland. And they have got to be thrilled with the score right now. 3rd and 6. This is the biggest play of the game so far. Pressure off the edge for the Scotties. They set up the screen, middle of the field. It's incomplete. Tried to set up a little tunnel screen there, Jeremy Beadling, but Highland Park defended it well.
Great pressure right there by, I believe, Adam Rourke. Didn't give the quarterback any time to kind of let the play develop, and that's really what you want. And a lot of the times, a lot of people think, a screenplay, you want them to blitz, but if the pressure gets there too quick and they're not able to set up the blocks downfield, it can really kind of counteract that screenplay.
As we are marching toward halftime here in Allen Eagle Stadium, 2:18 left in this one. It's a good, high, deep kick. They're trying to keep it away from Jay Cox. This will take an excellent bounce for Frisco Wakeland. Boy, from where I'm sitting, every bounce in this first half went the Wolverines' way. Now, that's the way football goes sometimes, but go back to the kickoff that goes out of bounds. Yep. Both fumbles in this one were recovered by Frisco Wakeland. A couple maybe 50-50 penalties went against them, and there another good bounce for the Wolverines. But a really good chance here for Frisco Wakeland to go, or rather for Highland Park to go down and get that score before the end of the half.
And I mean, if you're Highland Park, with all the mistakes and all the things that have happened this so far in this first half, and you're still tied, I mean, I'll take that. If you told me the Scots were going to fumble twice and not have any turnover or not any takeaways in the first half, and it's still 7-7.
And the ball's on the ground again. Highland Park nearly their 3rd fumble of the first half. Quarterbacks always say the most important play of the 2-minute drill is the first one, and that did not go well for Highland Park.
Well, this is a really big play right here because, I mean, Highland Park needs to get some of that yardage back and make this a 3rd and manageable.
2nd and 17. Storer rolling left, throwing that way. It's caught at the 30. Minimal gain there for John Rutledge. It'll set up a 3rd down and 12. And now this might be the most important play of the first half.
Yeah, I mean, looks like they're gonna let some time drip off the clock just in case they can't get this first down. But I mean, the Scots really want to put some points up before the first half ends.
3rd and 12. Storr throwing over the middle. Big first down pickup. Luke Rossley with a clutch grab to move the chains.
Great pocket presence right there by Storr, stepping up in the pocket and delivering a strike to his slot receiver.
And how about Rossley? Didn't alligator arm that one, knew the hit was coming, hung in there. Another throw over the middle. That time it's knocked away from John Rutledge. By the way, our halftime show is coming up here in just a bit. Madden Asset Management, global capabilities from the people you trust. We're going to turn up the AC at halftime. And I'm not talking about air conditioning. I'm talking about Scott legend Alex Carroll. He was the leading rusher on their 2005 state championship team with Matthew Stafford, and he's going to join us for our halftime show.
Exciting stuff right there, Miles.
2nd down and 10 here for Storr on the 2-minute drill. Throwing right side, that's caught at the 46-yard line. 50 seconds left here. Highland Park has 2 timeouts in the back pocket. Andrew Maroulis in there now at center, the bigger of the 2 centers. 3rd down and 5. Storr breaks a tackle, trying to make something happen at the 45. He's still on his feet. Needed to extend the football there across the 40. He'll be just shy of the marker. It'll be 4th down and 1, and now decision time coming here for Randy Allen.
And the Scots have been pretty aggressive so far this season. Being tied with 30 seconds left in the half, I think the Scots might go for it right here.
I think they're going to as well. A couple timeouts in the back pocket. I don't think Frisco Wakeland, if they're given 30 seconds, they're really going to attack the length of the field here. So I think you go for it. Looks like they will. They hand it off. Jay Cox, and he's stuffed. Frisco Wakeland's going to take the football at the 43-yard line.
It's not really what you want to see. I mean, they went with the 2-back set. They just could not get that push along the offensive line. But like you said, I still think regardless, that's the right move. You trust your defense. They've played really well so far besides that 194-yard drive and really take the 7-7 tie into half.
Let's see what Frisco Wakeland wants to do with it here. They need to go 54 yards, 56 yards. They start with a quick throw left side. That's the dangerous slot receiver, Ashton Cahooch. That's his 3rd catch of the game. And they're across midfield here. Wakeland does have all 3 timeouts, but just 22 seconds remaining. Once again, our halftime show coming up. Leading rusher from the 2005 state championship team, Alex Carroll, will join me.
Looks like Frisco is going empty set right here.
Tight end Reardon to the left. 3 receivers to the right, including Jared White, star running back. Brennan Meyer stepping up, throwing right side. Ooh. It is tipped and incomplete. Boy, that was one of those dangerous throws to the flat as Mason Gallus and Blake Bevins were patrolling. Gallus with the pass breakup. Maybe a chance there for the Scots to score on defense. Instead, it's just a 2nd down and 10.
And we've seen the Scots get a couple of those tipped interceptions so far this season. Namely that big one against Tyler that we saw in the pregame show.
Oh, they have had some big splash plays on defense over the years. And maybe put in a call for one right here as the Scots dominated. Really, I think the scrimmage play in this first half, but 2 untimely fumbles have this game tied. Brennan Meyer throws it left side. That's White scampering out of bounds near the 40. Jared White, 21 catches for 215 coming in. He's now got 27 total touchdowns on the season, 25 rushing, 2 receiving. And now just 11 seconds left in the first half, ball at the 41.
Miles, I don't know how good of a leg this Frisco Wakeland kicker has, but there's going to be no wind help. So, I mean, I'm guessing they're going to have to get anywhere from the 30 to the 25 at least to get into field goal.
And I think you need about another 15 yards to try to kick a field goal. 11 seconds left. They go play action. Brennan Meyer rolling left. Pushed out over there at the 35. You had to be real careful right there, did William Scribner, about a late hit, because that could have guaranteed some points potentially for Frisco Wakeland or gotten them a lot closer. 3 timeouts still left here for the Wolverines. And I think with the ball at the 35-yard line, you're looking at, near a 50-yard kick here. I don't think that's in the cards for Nolan Krinsky.
And it looks like they're going to be bringing out Jackson Heiss as kind of like playing that safety just in case of a Hail Mary as Wakeland takes a timeout right here.
They did put Jackson Heiss back there at safety, lined him up next to Preston Taylor, just a little bit more physicality, a little bit more height than JT Withers. 5 seconds left here in this second quarter. We're going to take a timeout and be back with the remainder of this first half.
If you're looking for the definition of service, I'm sure Sewell's name is in the dictionary of service.
Discover our wide variety of new and certified pre-owned vehicles at Sewell Cadillac.
Five seconds left here in the first half. There's a good look at Randy Allen trying to beat one of his former assistants on the other side of the field here in Marty Secord as Frisco Wakeland trying to pull an upset. Looking for a Hail Mary. 3 seconds left in the half here, barring a defensive penalty. This is the last play. He heaves it toward the end zone, and it is incomplete. So 7-7 is the halftime score. The Scots certainly think they should have more of a lead than they do right now. Really, it's a no lead, tie game as we go to halftime, as Marty Secord and Frisco Wakeland have to be thrilled about the position they are in. Not a single Dallas News picker had Frisco Wakeland winning this ball game, and it is tied here at half.
Yeah, and the story has been kind of the Scots kind of shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, the offense has been able to move. As I'm looking at the total yards, they outgained Frisco Wakeland 196 to 129 in the first half, but those two untimely fumbles in the red zone has kind of been the Achilles heel of the Scots so far.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the Madden Asset Management halftime show, I'm going to hang out for a few minutes with Alex Carroll, Scott State champion, and then we'll be back. Jeremy and I will recap that first half, preview the second, and take a look at some other scores from around the area. You're watching Scott Football, presented by Game On Sports. Let's get us on the camera for a second, and then if we can go.
In the end, it's not the politician that builds this country. It's the entrepreneur, carrying the world's largest economy on their shoulders, putting Americans back to work. Really, they're the only ones who ever could. We've always been the entrepreneur's bank, for the century behind and the century ahead. Vista Bank. Entrepreneurs banking entrepreneurs. Since 1912.
With almost 100 offices across the state of Texas and 50 of them in the DFW area alone, Capital Title is here to serve you. Made by Texans, for Texans. Capital Title is the largest independent title company in the United States. We are Dallas-born, Dallas-based, and family-owned. We support the Highland Park Scots.
From the excitement of Friday Night Lights to the thrill of the Texas State Fair, traditions are what unite us as Texans. For over 2 generations, Davidson Bogle Real Estate has had the privilege of carrying on the tradition of brokering land transactions across Texas. Whether you're looking to score an investment opportunity, buy a ranch, or lease industrial space, Davidson Bogle Real Estate is the foundation to get you started. Land is our business, so let us help you build upon Texas tradition. Visit us at db2re.com to kick off your land search today. And as always, go Scots.
Our name, Residential Capital Partners, reflects who we are and how we treat our customers. At Residential Capital Partners, we are dedicated to helping our customers build wealth through real estate. Residential Capital Partners, America's private lender.
Back here at Allen Eagle Stadium, my name is Miles Dunklin. It's the Madden Asset Management Capital Halftime Show as Highland Park and Frisco Wakeland right now tied at 7. Joined by Alex Carroll, 2005 state champion at Highland Park, class of 2007 like myself. Alex, welcome to Game On Sports Productions of Highland Park football here.
Hey, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
All right, Alex, let's get into a couple things here first. Any memories, I know we've got a few, from 2005, as you were the team's leading rusher, I believe, that season, at least in terms of carries.
Yeah.
And Matthew Stafford, Jake Felt, some great players on that team, but number 34 did a lot of the heavy lifting for that group. And tell us some of your fun memories from that 2005 state championship.
Yeah, there was a bunch of really fun memories. I would say the number one memory, just coming tonight and looking at the crowd and everyone getting excited for playoffs, was Marshall. We're playing them in the state championship, Tyler Rose Stadium, and we literally got there 3 hours early, and the whole stadium was packed. I couldn't remember what it was. I think it was like you had to buy your ticket the day of. You couldn't pre-buy them. But talk about high school Texas football. The entire stadium was packed 3 hours before the game. You couldn't feel like more excitement in that moment, so I always will remember that.
Alex, I know that that you're a big Highland Park guy, always have been, probably always will be, and always good to have you around the program. I know you and some other guys from that 2016 were around and have been around. What's it like coming back as an alumni? We're in the same boat here. Yeah. Take some time away, you come back. It's amazing how similar things were to the way they were when we were in high school almost 20 years ago now.
Yeah, I feel like I literally went in a time machine and walked here with my son, who's 4 years old, which is crazy. I walk down, I see Coach Allen, Coach Wells,
Coach Farnsley.
Yeah, Coach Farnsley, Coach Harris. Crystal's still there.
Yeah.
She's like, we were talking about spatting people's ankles, and it was literally like it brought all of it back. But how cool is that? That it's literally, you know, you have something good when all those guys are staying with the program. So there's not a lot of cases where, I think, how long has it been? 15 years? Since is that right?
Yep.
I don't know. I'm not a good math guy.
We were 2007, and it's 2021 now, so 14 years ago.
14 years ago, and they're all still coaching and just dominating. So, yeah, I think when you come back, it brings back all the memories, and I think the biggest thing you take away is the tradition. Every single person on that sideline at halftime right now, not one person thinks they're going to lose.
I love that.
When I went to Georgetown, people on our team thought we were going to lose. I wanted to kill them all. How do you do that? When you go to Highland Park, from 5th grade on, you're never going to lose.
All right, so I want to get back to that here in just a moment. This is Alex Carroll, by the way, was the leading rusher on the 2005 state championship team, featured Matthew Stafford, and held that trophy for Randy Allen down there, and something you and I certainly will never never forget. Some great days there. Alex, give us the update on you. A couple successful businesses. You and Kelsey, your wife, have a great young family. Tell us what's going on with Alex Carroll.
No, thanks for asking. We just sold a hand sanitizer station business that we pivoted through during the pandemic, and then we just started a new business. It's called Tower Ball, which is a backyard game that we invented and launched last week. So,
fantastic.
So it's a fun new family backyard game.
Right, and you had stand-up stations. Of course, you had your pop-up events.
Yeah.
And some great stuff. So congratulations to everything you got going on. And no surprise to anybody that back in the day that the drive that made you a good football player didn't expire with football, carried on to life as well. So congratulations on all of that. Let's talk about the football there in the first half, Alex. I know you felt like Highland Park was kind of on the verge of dominating that game, and I want to get back to your mentality and the mentality they have in that locker room right now. But what do you think of the first half in particular?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I've obviously watched a lot of football, and you see that we let them have that momentum. So right now, the 2 fumbles led to the momentum that they now have. And so now their sideline thinks that they can win. I think if we would have drove the ball down and not fumbled and scored those points, it'd be a blowout right now. So I'm calling it, everyone listening, the score, we're going to go 4 touchdowns unanswered, all right? We're going to blow them out by 4 touchdowns. You heard it here first.
I like the call. Now, Alex, you talked about the mentality and how it's different at Highland Park than other places. People talk about Scots find a way, right? And that saying was just kind of becoming a thing while we were there. It's now fully entrenched as a thing.
Yeah.
Now, these guys down there, they expect the next break to be theirs, right? And a lot of people in life or in sports, they're not sure. They're maybe pessimistic or maybe on the best, in that middle ground. They don't know what the next break is. Scots feel like the next quarter is ours, the next bounce is ours, the next play is ours. What makes that the case, and how powerful is that as an athlete to have that belief that you're the team that's going to win?
Yeah, well, it's funny. This reminds me, we were playing a Frisco team on the 06 team after Stafford graduated, and I'll never forget at halftime, Coach Allen came in. We were tied, similar to this, and I saw Coach Allen get really mad, and that's scary. I bet Coach Allen right now is getting a little ticked in the halftime locker room speech, and all the players are like, oh my gosh. And no doubt, every single player in there thinks every break's going to go our way, and we will not lose this game. I will take off my shirt and storm the field if Wakeland somehow wins the game. I will, but they're not going to.
All right, Alex, last question here, and then I'm going to let you move on. We're going to recap this first half and take a look at the second, as well as some scores from around the area. Any of these Scots in particular, and I'm going to go ahead and hand you my spotting board right here, that you've been impressed with as you've had some limited sampling of this current version of Highland Park football?
I love Brendan Storer. I think he has done an incredible job. He steps up in the pocket. He runs when he needs to run, and he's tough. I mean, that first hit that he took when his helmet popped off, I got fired up. He got up, put his helmet back on, wanted to get right back in the game. I mean, I think that says a lot about who he is, and I've watched him the last 2 games, and I just love that kid. He's not very tall either. I didn't realize he's 5'11". He plays, I would have guessed, 6'2". So, yeah, he's been very impressive. And then John Rutledge just jumped up, got number 2.
200-meter medalist last year.
Is he really?
Yep.
Yeah, he's
one of the
fast.
fastest guys we've ever had.
Yeah, and he jumped up and just took the ball down, even after getting interfered with. So those 2 guys both I've been very impressed with. And who's the DN? What's his name?
Oh, number 95, Jack Curtis. Hard to miss.
Good grief. Yeah, Jack was just dominating. So, I mean, we're going to come out and dominate the second half. I have no doubt. I want to get on the field right now.
I love it. That's Alex Carroll. By the way, Alex, I got to have you watch not only number 34 just because he's wearing number 34, but you got to watch this young man, Ben Crosdale, go to work. He brings the hard hat.
Okay.
Only about $185, but he is an outstanding blocker, one of the best blockers I've ever had at running back, and
okay, cool.
Really runs hard. All 3 of those running backs are excellent. Well, that's Alex Carroll. Alex, thank you so much for the time.
Miles. Appreciate it.
There he goes. That's Alex Carroll, class of 2007 from Highland Park. Are we going to keep it right here, guys, in the truck, or are we going to kick it to break? A little on-air production meeting here at the Madden Asset Management halftime show. Thanks a lot to Alex Carroll, the Highland Park band playing down there right now. We're going to take a quick break and be back with more here from Allen, Texas.
Attention Highland Park Scots and SMU fans, football is back at Highlander and on the Hilltop. And so is your favorite neighborhood burger joint, Goff's Hamburgers. It's the same burgers, same fries, hot dogs, and chicken you loved as a kid, but now in a brand new location. Goff's is now on Mockingbird between SMU and Central Expressway. Drop in for that unmistakable charcoal grill taste. Host a private party in the back room, or hang out and enjoy the Highland Park and SMU memories hanging on the walls. Goff's Hamburgers, proud supporter of the Highland Park Scots.
Since 1912, Vista Bank has proudly supported the Texas tradition of Friday night lights as the winningest program in the history of Texas high school football. The Highland Park Scots know what it takes to win. Whether you're with the team, in the band, a cheerleader, or a
Highland Park High School proudly presents the 2021 Highland Bells. Lieutenants from left to right are Greer Dunstan, Devaney Duclos, Ava Tiffany, Chloe Walsh, and Neely Womble. For your halftime entertainment, the Bells will perform a pom routine.
She's just a girl and she's on fire.
Under the direction of Mrs. Shannon Phillips. Assistant Director is Mrs. Emily Sanchez.
Determination on the field breeds determination in life. Discipline needed on the court will be the same discipline that gets the job done. That's why Tailwater Capital is a proud supporter of the Highland Park Athletic Program, the winningest athletic program in the state of Texas. 11 Lone Star Cups, 112 state championships, and a commitment to excellence that serves its players for a lifetime. From the locker room to the boardroom, Scots find a way.
Roger that. Back here at Allen Eagle Stadium, 4:50 on the halftime clock as we're getting ready here for the third quarter. A bit of a surprising score, even more than a bit, a lot of a surprising score here at halftime. 7-7 is the halftime score here between Highland Park and Frisco Wakeland. Just a couple of key miscues by the Scots led to this score. A couple of untimely penalties and certainly 2 untimely fumbles in that first half, or the reason why the score is just 7-7. My name is Miles Dunklin, joined here by Jeremy Beedling in the press box here at Allen Eagle Stadium. We were joined by my friend and Highland Park legend Alex Carroll at halftime, and as I said before, we were going to turn up the AC at halftime, and Jeremy, he certainly did that in this room. Whatever room Alex Carroll is in has a little bit more energy in it.
Yeah, and I mean, it was just great to hear about, the Scots of old and, get a perspective of somebody who's been through this program, 15 years ago. And he comes back and, talks about how everything is pretty much the same. Everything is kind of, how it was whenever the Scots won a championship back in 2005.
For sure, and there's no question, with this program that really it's the names that change and not a whole lot else is different over the course of the Randy Allen tenure at Highland Park. Let's go ahead and recap that first half for you as Highland Park and Frisco Wakeland even in first downs, 10-10. The Scots went down like a hot knife through butter on their first possession. 9 plays, 82 yards, 4 minutes and 9 seconds. And Jeremy, they really had no trouble at all moving the football in half number 1. I think you said it best. The only thing that stopped them was the Scots themselves with some mistakes.
Yeah, I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think the Scots punted once in the first half. It was those 2 crucial fumbles that were in the red zone that kind of stuck on them, and then the turnover on downs with 30 seconds left. But besides that, the Scots have really been moving the ball at will. They've been having a really balanced offense, running the ball. They've taken some deep shots, especially on that first drive. A beautiful catch by John Rutledge that put him inside the 5-yard line, which led to the Christian Reeves touchdown. But it's really just about holding onto the rock.
Right, more yards per play, more passing yards, more rushing yards. The 2 turnovers were really the only problem, and penalties. So three penalties, 2 turnovers were the big difference in that first half. Highland Park rushed it very well, 19 attempts. First of all, I'd love to see that first. I think just kind of like a pitcher in baseball, I think attempts or innings pitched are sometimes forgotten. The more you can get those rushing attempts up there, the more success you're going to have. 19 rushing attempts for the Scots. They rushed for 88 yards. Frisco Wakeland just 57 yards on 15 attempts, so under 4 yards a carry for Wakeland. I also love yards per pass, and the Scots did a great job there. 10.8 yards an attempt from Brennan Storr in that first half. He was 8 out of 10 passing. His leading receivers in the first half were John Rutledge, 2 for 44, Heiss, 2 for 27, and Rossley, 2 for 29. In the rushing game, Christian Reeves, 5 for 30. Ben Croasdale, 2 for 20. Storr, 7 for 17. And Cox, 4 for 13. I think one of the biggest figures in that first half as well. Frisco Wakeland, their bell cow running back, Jared White, just 31 yards. And you compare that to him on the rest of the season. the young man with nearly 1,800 yards on the season. So roughly 180 yards a game, held to just 30 in the first half. He did score a touchdown. All right, we don't have David Clark this week, so I can't ask Dave what he thinks, but give me a 1 out of 10, Jeremy Beadling, on the Frisco Wakeland inflatable over there. 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. 1 out of 10.
You know, I can't give it that high of a number just because I'm not a big fan of the helmet. I mean, I love it whenever we see a huge... I mean, yes, it's a helmet. We're on the football field. But, I mean, if we saw a 20-foot-tall Wolverine out there...
Ooh, I like that.
I mean, that would be more opposing.
So, quick, give me that number out of 10.
I would give it a 4.
A 4 out of 10. Oh, tough grader is Jeremy Beadling. Here come the Scots for the second half, looking for a much crisper performance on offense, as they did have those handful of turnovers. All right, a couple of scores around the area that are big. Let's take a look at some that don't quite matter in this one for Highland Park, but are very interesting. Lake Highlands is leading Allen 24-14. So the Allen Eagles, the mighty Allen Eagles, on the ropes in that one. Aledo is beating Frisco Liberty, another interesting area score, 27-17. But the one that matters big for us in Highland Park or Frisco Wakeland is College Station and Frisco Lone Star, and the Cougars all over Frisco Lone Star, 24-7 at the half. Now, 6 of the 7 Dallas News pickers had Frisco Lone Star in that game, and it appears, Jeremy, that College Station is for real.
You know, and you had mentioned to me before our halftime show that, you know, a lot of people are looking down on College Station simply because they're not a more well-known team. They're not in the Dallas area. And, you know, Frisco Lone Star, they've been a staple the past couple playoffs. The Scots have had to play them a couple times in the past couple years in the playoffs. And, you know, College Station has come out, senior-led team, quarterback, son of the coach, and they're up big on Frisco Lone Star, 24-7 at the half.
So an interesting score there. An interesting score here between another Frisco school and Highland Park. It's Wakeland 7, Highland Park 7, as we are here at the start of the third quarter. Highland Park Village sponsors our third quarter. It's another kickoff opportunity here for Jack Stone, as Highland Park won the opening toss. They elected to receive, so it will be Frisco Wakeland taking the ball here to start the second half. Davian Woolen with the fair catch right there on that first Allen L in their end zone. And with 12 minutes on the clock, the Scots are out here in the third quarter. Jeremy Beadling, we heard what Alex Carroll had to say there at halftime. He felt like the Scots were going to come out much crisper in the second half. What say you?
I completely agree. And I mean, one of the things about having that consistency with Randy Allen as the head coach is something that AC said at halftime, was that everybody on that sideline believes that they still are going to win this game.
I think that belief is a big part of what makes this program great. As they hand it off up the middle, that is the star tailback, Jared White. White will pick up 6 or 7, maybe his best run of the ball game so far. Jack Curtis with the tackle.
Let's see, second and about 3 on this one.
Frisco Wakeland, this is a really important drive for them to start this third quarter, as if they were able to get out to a lead in this third quarter, it would go a long way for them securing an upset. 7-7 here as we see a first throw of the second half for Brennan Meyer, getting it out to the tailback, and that's Jared White picking up another first down. They're going to throw him the ball. They're going to hand him the ball. Jeremy, they're going to snap it right to him. He is the offense for Frisco Wakeland.
Yeah, and they're not afraid to put him back in there in the Wildcat and direct snap it right to number 2. I really think that he has been the focal point of this Frisco Wakeland offense, and the one thing that's really got them going is him going up the middle, bruising the Scots defense, and then the play action.
27 total touchdowns on the year for White. How about the blitz up the middle? The Scots get home. It's none other than Jack Curtis.
Yeah, that's the one guy on the Scots defensive line that you shouldn't leave unblocked, and he just comes seamlessly right up the middle right here on this Sloan Investment Management sack. Let's see the replay presented by New Balance. He just rips the left guard, goes right by him and jumps over the running back for the sack.
What an athletic play by Jack Curtis. I don't know what else this young man needs to do on the field to get more attention off of the field. Performance-wise, he's done every single thing you can ask him to do. This young man would be a great addition to any program. 2nd down and 17 coming. Brennan Meyer pressured again by Curtis. Rolling left, lobbing, intercepted. Ooh. There's the play for Highland Park. It's number 24, Preston Taylor.
Ooh, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. The pass rush getting right to him and getting right there, and just a tip pass right to the Scott DB. That's the play that the Scots need to start the second half.
Big play right there for the Scots. Look at Taylor here on the left side of your screen. Great pressure right there from Curtis initially, then from Robert Remy, and Taylor using that range, able to make the pick for Taylor. That's his 2nd interception of the season, and the Scots have it at the 43-yard line.
Heads-up play right there by Preston Taylor.
They run the option again. It's Storr faking the pitch, taking it up the field to the 35-yard line. Call that the 37-yard line. Advantage Healthcare System sponsors those turnovers. Advantage Healthcare Systems is here to help traumatically injured individuals, whether on the job or in a significant accident. And the Scots with a big takeaway right there just when they needed it.
Yeah, that was huge. That was huge. And we talked about momentum swings. You know, giving up the ball twice in the first half. That really gives a lot of juice to this team, being able to get a takeaway and kind of give their offense the ball in scoring position.
2nd and 5, they hand it off to Christian Reeves right up the middle, and boy, that ends up working out like Highland Park got the ball to start the second half. And I think there's no doubt, if you watch the game just with the eye test, Highland Park was the better team in the first half, maybe not by a huge margin, but I think by a significant one. It was those 2 turnovers that made the difference. Now the Scots have a chance to prove it here on a 3rd down and 1. Big situation for Brennan Storr and company. It's a keeper all the way here for Brennan. Running behind some offensive linemen. He's loose. A flag is down as Brennan will pick up the 25. Unfortunately, this is right in the area of a hold.
Let's see what the White Hat has to say about this one.
Colin Peak made the tackle, number 43. Our White Hat is Steve Owens.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense, number 17. Happens to go from the end of the run, automatic 1st down.
You know, Jeremy Beadling, in that first half, I thought pretty much every break went against the Scots. Look at that nice block by Chick Wilson right there, the right guard pulling across. But here's a couple in a row going the Scots' way.
Yeah, and as we see this New Balance replay right here, the biggest thing that points out to me in that replay, both hands on the ball for Brennan Storr. He is not going to give that ball up. And I just think, you know, being able to run through that face mask just shows you the physicality of this Scott offense and what they're trying to do to start off the second half.
Knocking on the door here in the Shelby American Red Zone. They go with the option again. It's Storr pitching, and this one out of bounds. And no harm, no foul there. Almost looked like our line judge was signaling an incomplete pass. That couldn't be the case.
Incomplete forward pass. 2nd down.
I'm not sure that was true, but that's how it's going to be ruled, as an incomplete pass, says Steve Owens. Now, Jeremy, I talked with Ryan Gibbs, the Scots running back coach, about this option, and you know it's hard for teams in 2021 to run the option, but they practice it a lot and they do it as well as any team in modern football. Let's talk about that after this 2nd and 10. Storr in the backfield right now with Christian Reeves. He's got Rossley and Rutledge, as well as Heist to his right. Luke Herring split to the left. Storr, plenty of time, throwing left, looking for Herring. It's through his hands, nearly had his 6th touchdown of the season. Incomplete.
Yeah, and I mean, going back to the option play, I mean, as we see the great block by Christian Reeves right there, but I mean, running the option play, it is hard because, you know, there is that element of you're pitching the ball at some point in the play, and that can be dangerous.
Storr on 3rd and 10, escaping, throwing, Incomplete. It went right through the hands of his intended target. Would have been a great catch there by Jackson Heiss, but the ball was certainly catchable right there. I think 2 in a row thrown by Stewart that could have been brought down by his excellent outside receivers. Instead, the Scots will settle for a field goal attempt here from the 20-yard line.
You know, and whenever you're in the Shelby American red zone, you're going to want to punch the rock in. But, I mean, at least getting some points in here, breaking the tie to start the second half, that'll be a good thing for the Scots.
30-yard attempt here from Sam Heinrich. And he missed it wide left. The Scots, they've been inside the Shelby American red zone 4 times, and they have scored just once. 2 fumbles and now a missed field goal. And I know they feel really good about Sam's accuracy.
20-yard line, first down.
Push that one wide left, and it'll be Frisco Wakeland getting the ball back as they dodge a bullet after the interception by Preston Taylor.
Yeah, and it's one thing to get the turnover, but you really want to capitalize off of those turnovers if you're the Scots, and the defense is going to have to step it up again here with 8 minutes to go in the third quarter.
First down and 10 here for Wakeland. They run the counter. And a nice stiff arm right there. The Scots were well aware of Jared Wright's ability to throw that stiff arm. I talked to Bobby Leidner this week. He said a big emphasis for them was running through the tackle. If you let your legs stop running, he will push you straight down to the turf with his hand on your face mask.
Yeah, he is one physical runner for sure, Miles.
Maybe not quite as physical as the guy they faced last week. A little bit more nimble back there than Kedrick Riscano, one of the top power backs in America. But certainly Jared White has his bag of tricks as well. They throw it right side. That's caught by Kahooch. 4th catch of the game for this young man. He'll pick up the 40-yard line. And that Frisco Wakeland sideline off a pair, really now I think 3 or 4 Highland Park miscues. They feel like, hey, we've got a chance to beat the Scots, which is a rare feat in Texas high school football. Highland Park right now ranked as the number 3 team in the state by Dan Campbell's Texas football. Just behind Denton Ryan and College Station. By the way, a matchup right there, top of your screen, of the 345-pounder Connor Stroh against Jack Curtis. 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line. They throw it, top of the screen. That's caught. Number 88, Cody Johnson. 12 catches, 150 yards on the year for Johnson. Tackle made by Adam Rourke, but a first down for the Wolverines.
A couple plays. Wakeland's been letting Meyer rip it. Let's see if they keep on letting him throw the ball or they go back to Jared White on this play.
Sneaking suspicion they're going to hand it off. They do. Left side. Big running room here for White. Across the 20. Still on his feet inside the 10 toward the pylon. Touchdown. Wolverines. A 48-yard scamper, and Frisco Wakeland has the Scots down in the third quarter. Big time touchdown. Bob Lilly Promotions proudly supporting the Scots since 1999. You know, Bob Lilly Promotions not too stoked about that touchdown by Jared White, but you knew he was going to have a play like that over the course of the game, Jeremy. I think that Scott sideline, still they got to have the message over there. Don't blink. We knew we were going to face some adversity. As the extra point is up and in.
Yeah, and we were talking about it in the pregame show. Jared White, he's the X factor for Frisco Wakeland, and for the most part in this game, he's been contained, but you know, just it takes that one play that he pops off and gets some open space, and obviously you see how special of a player he is after that touchdown.
So a big body blow that time by Frisco Wakeland. I think, you know, Highland Park still has to feel like this is their game to lose regardless. 18 minutes left in this one, but they have certainly put themselves in a tough spot. Like I said before, they have 4 trips to the Shelby American red zone and just 7 points to show for it. And that's really the difference in the ballgame. Give a lot of credit to Frisco Wakeland. I think Highland Park was certainly aware this is a team that can beat them. They're going to have to play well to beat every team left on their schedule. So far, have not played their best football here, and they trail 14-7. This will be caught by Cox at the 10. A little bit of an awkward catch as he and Rutledge collided after a miscommunication, and the Scots are a little bit out of sorts over here on the near sideline.
Yeah, and I know I've said it a couple times, but this is a really big momentum drive for the Scots right here. You didn't capitalize in the red zone on your last trip, just gave up a touchdown. You really need that momentum swing to come back in your favor and put together some first downs, put together a nice drive here.
3-2 all time are the Scots here at Allen Eagle Stadium, trying to win their 4th consecutive. And they'll need Brennan Storer and that junior class to make some plays here on this drive. As they hand it off up the middle, that's Reeves stumbling across the 25 to the 26-yard line. The Scots have had a lot of success tonight running the football. They have 22 carries for over 100 yards.
And Reeves is pumped up after that run. He looks to the sideline, says, "Feed me more."
And that's certainly Christian's mentality. He wants the football. They go with the draw.
Great
Rosedale,
block.
left side, stumbling across the 30. There'll be a 3rd down and 1 on the little pump draw right there by Storer with some fancy ball handling. Christian Reeves with the block out in front.
And that you see the physicality and the want by these Scots, the urgency. Christian Reeves, even though he's not getting the ball on that play, sets a huge block on the outside to spring Rosedale.
Maybe the most important play of the game so far for the Scots. It's 3rd down and 1. Storer up the middle. 1st down. Nice block out in front by big Charlie Wilson, number 59.
And as you mentioned, they have big Andrew Morales out there too. Great push by them too. I believe they kind of double teamed the nose tackle right there, pushing him back a good 3 or 4 yards, Miles.
Yeah, Morales is the bigger of the 2 centers that they're using. Number 58 is a big fella. Lined up in there between Gobert and Wilson. Storer all day to throw on the comeback route, and that one was thrown a bit short of Luke Herring. By the way, we talked about Luke's older brother earlier in the broadcast. We got to say one more time, congratulations to James Herring. Of course, James made the tackle to help the Scots win the state championship in 2017, brought down Jalen Preston at about the 3-yard line. And James last week was the Ivy League Player of the Week, 2 interceptions for Harvard. 2nd down and 10. Man in motion is Reeves. Storer under pressure. That one's incomplete. Rutledge would still be running. Had he caught that football, there was nobody on number 2. And Rutledge would have shown you some track speed, but Storer was hit first.
Yeah, tried to give Rutledge that extra 1 second, but, you know, Storer got hit during that throw, which made it a little bit short. But as you said, nobody around Rutledge on that route.
Big 3rd down and 10. The Frisco folks are fired up. Storer, left side. Big pitch and catch between a couple of juniors as Luke Herring has his first reception of the day, and Herring moves the chains. You know, that's the kind of play right there, Jeremy, that shows you that Brennan Storer's not afraid of the moment right there on a big 3rd down.
Yeah, I mean, just missed Rutledge on an open route the play before and just threw a strike for a 1st down on 3rd and long.
Storer, all kinds of time once again. There's Jay Cox at the 45. So good after the catch. How about that little duck under for another 3 or 4 and move the chains again?
And this is what we were talking about. The Scots needed to gain some momentum. The sideline for Frisco Wakeland at the start of the drive was absolutely pumping. But now after a couple 1st downs, it's kind of settled down.
I think with the 1-back set here, 4 receivers for Storer. Wanting to throw, makes a stiff arm. Flag is down. They throw it left side. That's dropped. There's a chance this could be a face mask. We're going to see how they adjudicate it. Our referee is Steve Owens. The flag came in as they made contact with Storer. And now it looks like the indication is it's against Highland Park.
Holding on the offense for 58. 10 yards to the previous spot. Remains first down.
They get the Scots at the center spot for a big hold. 3:54 left in the third quarter. Scots only with 7 points on the board. Scots have averaged just shy of 40 points a game offensively. First down and 20. They go with the hard count. Just a three-man rush here from Wakeland. Throwing left side. That's caught. Look at him go after the catch. That's Luke Herring once again. Herring is a handful once he's got that thing in his mitts.
Making up for the drop the play before. Picks up the yardage that they lost with the penalty and more for a first down.
I mean, Herring has been so good after the catch this year. He is really a terror to bring down in the open field. 6'3", 190 pounds. That's another guy on the outside coming back next year. Great rapport from that junior core group in the passing game with Brennan Storer. Ball in the 23. The handoff, rather it's a keeper by Storer. A little zone read. You don't see that too often. From Highland Park, did the ball come out? Wakeland thinks they have it. Is this the third recovered fumble by Frisco Wakeland? It is not. Gannon Gobert came out with the football. That cannot happen again for Highland Park in this one. They have reduced the margin of error. A very slim total here in the third quarter.
Yeah, and they're right on the cusp of that Shelby American red zone, the tip of the ball at the 20-yard line. They really need to come out with some points here on this drive, Miles.
Nice job at the mesh point there by Storer. Wanted to throw right, nobody there. Now back across the middle. There's the sure-handed John Rutledge. He's a slight guy, but Rutledge never with fear over the middle makes another tough catch.
Yeah, and that was some great blocking by his offensive line, giving him some time rolling out and then finding the open John Rutledge, the sure-handed John Rutledge, to get them inside the 10-yard line. And then now we see Highland Park going back to their two running back set.
As they have it at the 9, trying to tie this thing up. The Scots, 4 trips into the Shelby American red zone, make it 5. First down and goal from the 9. They go with the option again. Storer keeping it. Down to the 1-yard line goes Brennan Storer. He's run that option really well this evening, keeping it once again, second and goal.
They are right there at about the 1.5-yard line. I'd love to see them just power it in and use those big maulers up front.
Second and goal from the 1. Storer keeps it himself into the end zone. Touchdown, Scots.
Exactly what the doctor ordered right there, Miles. With this Bob Lilly Promotions touchdown, just like we said, we wanted the maulers to get up front, and Storer goes right behind him and powers it in.
You know, I think one thing you might not realize if you haven't watched Scott football maybe for more than this season or haven't watched them this season, they have been so good after the down moments in this campaign. And certainly that big touchdown run by Jared White as the Kennington Vanguard extra point is up and good. That big run by Jared White, certainly a down moment. They answer right back with a big drive.
89 yards, 12 plays, 4 minutes off the clock. Like I said, just what the doctor ordered. And I mean, not without some setbacks on that drive either. And they were able, as we see right here, Brennan Storer punching it in on the New Balance replay right there. Was able to get behind his big maulers and give the Scots a tie right here with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. And like I was saying, Miles, not without some setbacks on that drive. They had a penalty that had them at 1st and 20. They had a 3rd and long. They were able to overcome and end up scoring some points on that drive.
Assert Capital Management is the sponsor for those drive recaps. Once again, 12 plays, 89 yards, 4 minutes and 6 seconds off the clock, and now the Scots have a bit of their mojo back over here on the near sideline as the game is tied once again. Jack Stone ready to do what he does best, one of the nation's best kickoff guys. Davidson Bogle real estate kickoff. And Stone drills another one. That's bobbled, but caught at the 1 yard line. It's Woolen. And Jeremy, the cavalry, arrives again. When the ball has actually been returned this year, it has very rarely crossed the 25-yard line, and they do it again.
As Coach Clark always said, it's either a touchback or it's a wrong decision on opposing teams' kickoff returns against the Scots this season.
I'd prefer fair catching it and taking it at the 25. I think a lot of these teams feel like they need to make a play in the kick return game to beat Highland Park, but really tough against this unit. First down and 10 as Wakeland has it from their own 16. Inside handoff, it's stuffed. Guess who? Jack Curtis in the backfield, number 95 with that long flowing hair.
And I really do think they found a great mismatch right here with the left guard for Frisco Wakeland. He's been able to kind of rip right through him and get in the backfield multiple times this game, Miles.
And you saw the bench press right there. Once he got that left hand extended, it was over.
Game over.
Second down and 12. Scott defense needs to make another play. And a tie game. Rolling right. Nowhere to go for Myers. Stepping up. He'll be thrown down again. Great play there by Mason Gallus with his patented celebration. Nobody's more excited to make a play than number 90.
Oh, and that puts Frisco Wakeland in a precarious position. 3rd and 10. Let's see if the Scots can pin their ears back, get some pressure. Be looking at big number 95 in this play to make a huge play as he's pumping up the sidelines right now.
Mason Gallus is a guy you could play any sport with. This guy's just an athlete. He's a competitor, really wants to win. It's a big 3rd down and 10 for the quarterback, Brendan Myers. Sophomore has 5 wide receivers deployed. Scott's immediate pressure. It's Curtis in the backfield. Meyer gets rid of it. It's incomplete. No flags. Highland Park has it back, and the momentum is wearing blue and gold.
Oh, and you can feel it. You can see the movement on the Scots sideline. You can see the energy kind of flowing through the Scots. They are really believing in this game right now that they can come back and win it.
Frisco Wakeland's finding out what the rest of the state already knew. You can't block number 95, and it makes it really tough to run your offense when he pushes you out of the pocket every time. And now a Frisco Wakeland false start. Jeremy, I said it just a moment ago. Momentum right now, wearing blue and gold. We had a great interview at halftime with my friend Alex Carroll, state champion in 2005. He said the belief on the sideline is that it's our game, and you see that coming to fruition right now.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, when it rains, it pours, and the Scots have just...
Starting signals on defense, number 98. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
All right, now this one's going to go against the Scots. They get him for a delay of game, which essentially can mean that they were probably barking out signals at the line of scrimmage, trying to confuse the offense. They tagged William White there. It will be another punting situation here for Wakeland regardless. And Jay Cox stands at his own 40-yard line. Scott's trying to block it. They nearly got there. It's a good end-over-end kick. It will be fair caught by Cox at the 50-yard line. Let's call it the 49 on the Wakeland side of the field. And right now, a big opportunity for the Scots. They've certainly shown the ability to move the football, punched it in on that last possession. They need another score here.
Yeah, with 20 seconds left in the quarter, this is going to be a big drive for the Scots to see if they can reclaim the lead. Everything's been going the right way. There's been 16 first downs so far, 303 total yards for the Scots compared to 224 for Frisco Wakeland. This offense has been cooking so far.
First down and 10. They tried to hand it off there to Jay Cox. They did get the handoff to Cox. It was nearly a fumble right there. Carson McMillan had that play snuffed out, but the Scots immediately rushed to the 5 wide look. This is something they like to do. Both plays called back-to-back. Storr over the middle. It's intercepted, threw that one into traffic. It's going the other way. Colin Peak has it across midfield. Big mistake right there for the Scots. They wanted that big play, as they often do when they run those two plays back-to-back. It was not there.
That's the first quarter.
And it's a big turnover to end the third quarter. 14-14 is our score. 12 minutes left to decide who moves on past the area round. You're watching Scott Football, presented by Game On Sports.
With almost 100 offices across the state of Texas and 50 of them in the DFW area alone, Capital Title is here to serve you. Made by Texans, for Texans. Capital Title is the largest independent title company in the United States. We are Dallas-born, Dallas-based, and family-owned. We support the Highland Park Scots.
Our name, Residential Capital Partners, reflects who we are and how we treat our customers. At Residential Capital Partners, we are dedicated to helping our customers build wealth through real estate. Residential Capital Partners, America's private lender.
Big turnover to end the third quarter. We're back here at Allen Eagle Stadium to start the fourth quarter. My name is Miles Dunklin, up here in the booth with Jeremy Beedling, as Frisco Wakeland has a chance to upset Highland Park here in the area round of the playoffs. It's a design run here for the quarterback, Brennan Meyer. The sophomore will take it to the 41-yard line, lowering his shoulder into the pile. You get the feeling, especially for Frisco Wakeland, they're going to leave it all on the field right now to try to get a win to end their season. And that was actually the backup quarterback in there. Strotenbauer straight ahead. Strotenbauer's in there here on 2nd down and 5 here to start this Republic title fourth quarter. They'll hand it off. It's White, dragged down by George Wright.
Great
big play right there, his 6th TFL of the season.
And just getting in word from the bigwigs here at Game On, the Highland Park basketball team ended up winning 89-80 or 89-61. Camp Wagner ended up with 29 points on the night.
Great to hear that. Scott basketball starts their season with a couple of nice wins. The concern right now for Scott football. And the Scott defense.
Reset the play clock.
It looked like they signaled for a timeout, but they're just resetting the play clock. And they should have stopped the game clock right there as well, as it continued to roll. So maybe about 10 extra seconds off of the clock that will not be corrected. Quarterback Brennan Meyer is back in the game. Better thrower than Strotenbauer. 3rd and 5. Big play. Wants a deep ball. He's got his man in the end zone. Touchdown, Wolverines. It's number 1, Davian Woolen. His 2nd score of the season. A big 41-yard touchdown strike.
Yeah, and I really think the Scots were anticipating a short throw or a run on that 3rd and short, but Frisco Wakeland dialed up the deep bomb, and it was one-on-one coverage, and Woolen had the whole middle of the field, and credit Meyer, that was a really good throw on a deep pass.
I have a sneaking suspicion that Blake Bevins was expecting some help to the middle of the field that time based on the positioning of his hips. I think he was looking for some help to the middle that never came, as he had some outside leverage for sure, and potentially a missed assignment in the middle of the field that time for the Scott defense. And it was a big one, as Frisco Wakeland claims a 21-14 lead.
Yeah, still 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. A lot of time left in this game, but you know, it's just been one of those things where the Scots have kind of shot themselves in the foot with turnovers, and Frisco Wakeland has been able to capitalize. And the one turnover that the Scots have gotten on Frisco Wakeland, they were not able to capitalize. And I think that's been the biggest point in the game so far, Miles.
And let's keep in mind, this is an excellent Frisco Wakeland team. They've outscored opponents this year 400 to 138. You don't have that kind of point differential without having some really good football players. Their 2 losses to Frisco Lone Star and Denton Ryan. They only scored 6 points combined in those 2 games. They have come to play tonight here against Highland Park. It's another kick away from Rutledge to Jay Cox at the 10. Cox has some room down the sideline. He'll pick up the 32. The Scott offense needs a score on this drive.
Yeah, and I'd love to see them go back to their bread and butter, that 2 running back set, and kind of pound the ball a little bit here. I know you're down. I know it's the 4th quarter, but I'd love to see them get back to that ground and pound and then use that to get into the play action and get John Rutledge deep on some one-on-one balls.
Outgaining Frisco Wakeland in terms of passing, rushing, first downs. It's the turnovers and the penalties that have hurt the Scots tonight. That ball was knocked down at the line of scrimmage. It was a forward pass.
Looks like it was,
I believe it was number 8, and that's Henry Johnson with the deflection from his outside linebacker spot. The Frisco Wakeland sideline is living right now as they know they have a chance to upset Highland Park. Storr wants the throwback, left side. There's Crosdale. He's got work to do. Made a couple of men miss. Ben did very well to pick up the 40-yard line. As Jeremy, that could have gone for a loss. And Crosdale picks up 8.
Yeah, very shifty run right there. Like you said, got met, first guy at about the 33-yard line, but was able to get a good gain and set up the Scots with a 3rd and 2.
Let's call it a long 3rd and 1 as the marker's at about the 40.5, and they need the 42-yard line. And they don't want the 42-yard line. They need it.
Yes.
At this point in the season. They hand it off. It's Reeves. He's got a first down and more. The ball came out. Did Reeves get it back? It looks like he did. Hart skipped a beat as it looked like the season was loose right there at the Allen Eagle midfield logo. And Reeves able to get it back. I told you earlier, he's lost just 1 fumble in his career.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not what you want to see from the Highland Park offense. I mean, they've already given the ball up multiple times, but you really cannot give it up again when you're down driving, trying to tie up the score here.
Like we said, the margin for error is slim right now for the Scots. Storr in trouble. He's going to go down. 45-yard line. A big sack. It was number 8, Henry Johnson. A couple plays on this series for number 8. Big Sloan Investment Management sack. The Scots trailing here by 7 against Frisco Wakeland. And it would certainly be an upset. There was not a single pundit that picked Frisco Wakeland to win this football game. Storr escaping. Some Brennan Storr magic to the 49-yard line, not to take a big sack. That play will set up a 3rd down and 11, but avoided disaster.
Yeah, gonna need a big play here on 3rd and about 10.5. Looks like they're gonna go 1 back set, 2 receivers on each side.
This is their best passing lineup. Jay Cox and their top 4 receivers out there. Pressure here from Wakeland, throwing over the middle. There's Cox. He's got a first down. That's why you sub Jay Cox in the ball game. He is a tremendous receiver. 28 catches, 500 yards, 3 touchdowns this year for Jay.
And what a smart play. He knew where the first down marker was, and you saw at the end of that play, he was able to kind of stretch that ball over and make sure he got the first down, Miles.
I think we had, like I said, we had Alex Carroll up here at halftime. He said the guys believe they're going to win. That's still the case down there on that sideline as they trail by 7. Storr wants a deep ball. It wasn't there. Escaping right, has a wide open receiver. It's Rossley still on his feet inside the 20. Rossley inside the 10. 4-yard line. The Scots are knocking on the door.
Great heads-up play. Storer was looking to run, looked up at the last second, saw Rossley wide open at about the 17-yard line, and he did the rest, bringing the Scots all the way down to the 3-yard line, deep inside the Shelby American red zone.
This is their 6th time down here in the red area, and once again, they need a score. 7:10 remaining in this ball game. In regulation, let's say, for the first time today.
On the Scots sideline is bumping now.
They hand it off. Right side, stuffed at the 5-yard line. Frisco Wakeland's defense has been stout tonight. A couple of those short yardage situations, they've been right there to meet the ball carrier. Go back to that last drive of the first half. Shut down Highland Park on that turnover on downs. Let's see if they keep it on the ground or put the ball in the hands of Brendan Storer.
Yeah,
I think you might see an option here, too.
This goes to the end zone. I mean, I'd love to see him straight ahead run, but
there's the option. Storer pitches it. Reeves at the 3. Couldn't get past number 4. That was Gus England. I had a feeling that option might be coming. They really like that play call in this area, especially to the weak side of the formation. And Highland Park is going to take a timeout and think about this extremely important play call. Origin Bank timeout. Bank Original with 2 convenient locations in the Park Cities. We'll take a timeout as well halfway through the 4th quarter here in Allen. Back here at Allen Eagle Stadium. Highland Park on the ropes, but a chance to come back and maybe deliver a knockout punch as they can tie this thing with a touchdown. It's 3rd and goal from the 3, maybe 4 down territory here, Jeremy Beedling.
Big play right here. They got Crosdale in the backfield.
Storer with the keeper, up the middle, touchdown Scott!
Woo! Jack Curtis was in the game, giving that extra boost up front, and that was just some smash mouth football right there. Straight ahead, mono, get your man, push him back, and that's exactly what the Scots did right there on that touchdown.
They had 94 and 95 in the lineup. That was Judge Ellis and Jack Curtis. A heavy package right there from the Scots. They went with that sugar huddle, didn't give Wakeland any time to line up. All important extra point here. And Sam Heinrich is good. He's still not missed one in his entire Scott career.
And
21 all.
Before we went to the break, I turned over to you, Miles, and I said, you know, that close to the goal line, it's hard to go east and west as much. You got to go straight up, and that's exactly what the Scots did right there, putting in some of their big boys and letting Storer punch the ball in right there, and I love the play call.
And they got a hat on a hat up front,
yeah.
Took the ball. Rather, instead of handing it off, you pick up an extra blocker when you let your quarterback run it. A big drive right there. Assert Capital Management sponsors those drive recaps. 10 plays, 4 minutes and 7 seconds, and 68 yards. And once again, I talked about this earlier, but this team bounces back, Jeremy, okay? And that's the DNA of Randy Allen, okay? Groups look at their leaders about how to respond. And Randy Allen does not blink. And the rest of that coaching staff that's been here for a long time, Grayson Wells, 22 years at Highland Park. James Farnsley, 19 years. Max Hawsey, 10 years. 14 years for Ryan Gibbs.
Yeah, and I mean, not going to
that group does not blink.
Not going to sugarcoat it. It hasn't been the best game by the Scots tonight, but every time they've been down, every time they've had their back against the ropes, they seem to come back punching. And, I mean, it's 21-21. It's anybody's ball game with 6 minutes left in the 4th quarter.
How about some more experience for that Scott coaching staff? 13 years for Bobby Leidner, 12 years for Darren Eason, 8 years for Carter Bean. Those guys have been around. They've got 3 state championship rings. Great coverage once again by the Scots. Jack Stone's unit does it again. I've never been so excited about a kickoff team, but this group is electric.
Oh, and 2 things with the Scots kickoff. It's either going to be a mistake or it's going to be a touchback, and right there it was a huge mistake as they pinned them back at their own, looks about 10.5-yard line. This is going to be a big drive for the Frisco Wakeland offense. Let's see if the Scots can get the ball back to the Scott offense to try to regain the lead.
1st and 10 for Wakeland here from the 11-yard line. Our spotter, Matthew Bryce, looked at me and said, "Why aren't you fair catching the football?" I've been asking that all year long. A quick throw left side. That's caught at the 13. A little bit of running room here for the sophomore. He's going to get him out across the 20-yard line. Preston Taylor on the stop. But I'll tell you what, I have liked Ashton Kahuch's game tonight. I believe that is his 5th catch of the contest.
Yeah, he has been one of the bright spots.
6th catch of the game.
He's been one of the bright spots for this Frisco Wakeland offense, giving them a jolt out of the slot position.
Just a sophomore. 16 catches on the season, coming in 6 tonight. By the way, I think Brennan Myers equipped himself well in this game, sophomore quarterback for Wakeland. 1st and 10 from the 23. Play action. Rolling right on the bootleg, throwing back across the middle. Ooh. It is knocked away. Reminiscent of that play earlier where Preston Taylor had the interception.
Looking for number 2 right there, Miles. And who else with the pressure but Jack Curtis?
Well, I like the play call there on the bootleg, get the young quarterback out. You know that the defense is flowing with number 2, Jared White. 2nd down and 10. 5:22 left in this instant classic here in Allen. Say it's a classic if the Scots win it. We'll put it that way. Meyer hit from behind. It was number 97, Henry Richter. We were waiting for the sophomore to have his moment this season, and that was it.
And what a moment to have in one of the most pivotal
Holding on
spots.
the offense, too.
Holding on the offense, number 57. That penalty is going to be declined.
Interesting move.
I like the call. I'd like 3rd and 10. In the modern game, I'd rather have on offense, I'd rather have 2 chances from the 20 or from 20 out than 1 chance from 10 out.
Yep.
I think the Scots feel the same way Bobby Leidner does, but great play right there from Richter into the starting lineup this week to flex that pass. It's a crucial 3rd and 10.
Wakeland going empty set right here.
5 wide deployed for Brennan Meyer. Pushed out of the pocket. He needs the 33-yard line. Throwing. Got the 1st down. There's that man again. Number 14, Ashton Kahuch. His 7th catch of the game. Big time pitch and catch right there from Wakeland. Tip of the cap.
Big play. And like you said, Brennan Meyer has really stepped up to the plate so far in this game.
They've got it now 1st and 10 here from the 35. By the way, how big of a difference does the kickoff team make? Well, most teams start at the 35. They've had 2 first downs. They've still got 65 yards to go. The handoff goes to White. Right side, broke a tackle. Talked about that stiff arm in the first half. He showed it there again. Takes the ball across midfield all the way to the 45-yard line. JT Withers makes the stop, but a vicious stiff arm right there, Jeremy, got him out in the open field.
Yeah, he has one physical runner, and when you're the first guy to him, you really got to wrap up. You can't, like you said, Coach Leidner said, you can't stop those feet. You have to keep on pushing through the tackle.
4:24 in this one for Frisco Wakeland. They would love to score and leave no time for the Scots as they're in no rush on this possession. 10 seconds left on the play clock. Scots might get a little bit more aggressive here. 5 seconds on the play clock for Brennan Meyer. Down to 1 as they snap it. The handoff to White, and he's stuffed. Scrivener, the first man to hit him. Number 33, downhill linebacker.
And, I mean, once again, we talked about in the pregame show throughout the whole game, the coaching pedigree on both sides of the ball. Both of these coaches have been in every position imaginable. So, I mean, this is a well-coached game so far on both sides, and we see 21-21 deadlocked with just over 3.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
2nd and 11. Another throw to the sophomore slot man, and a great tackle that time for the Scots. George Wright patrolling in the open field.
And another 3rd and long for this Frisco Wakeland offense. Can the Scots get off the field? And is this 4-down territory right here, Miles, for Frisco Wakeland?
I think it is 4-down territory, and the reason is you have a chance to upset Highland Park. Third down and 8. Huge play in the ball game. Season on the line for both teams. Meyer facing some pressure. Big hit, intercepted! Intercepted by Highland Park. It's Preston Taylor. Jack Curtis made the hit. Highland Park has the football with a chance to win the ball game.
What a play! Oh my gosh! Like his ears pinned back. Jack Curtis coming off the edge with all the power in the world, and who is that? Preston Taylor gets his 2nd pick, probably the biggest pick of the season, Miles.
I mean, without question, that is the defensive play of the year. As Highland Park needed it the most, they get the takeaway, 21-all, and Brennan Storr has a chance for a 2-minute drill to win the ball game. Quick throw, left side, running room for Rutledge. Into the open field, the track speed on display to the 40-yard line, and now time is not an issue. 2.5 minutes, ball at the 40.
And how the pendulum of momentum has swung everything Frisco Wakeland side, and then that interception and quick turnaround. Now the Scots are in scoring position. I mean, what a turn of events right here, Miles.
1st and 10 now from the 38. Storr throwing right side. That's caught by Rossley. Rossley running room down the sideline. Rossley hurdles a man to the 20. Are they going to say he stepped out previous to that? They are at the 26-yard line, but still move the chains once again. First and 10 for Highland Park at the 26-yard line. After the interception by Preston Taylor. Handoff, right side, it's Crosdale. Crosdale to the 20, another nice stiff arm. Running behind a Charlie Wilson block. The Scots will face a 2nd down and 3. And Jeremy Beedling, you're now within definitive field goal range for either Sam Heinrich or one of the best kickers in America in Jack Stone. You got the whole playbook in front of you here.
Yep, and as the clock goes under 2 minutes right here, as the great Chris Berman would say, tick, 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 tick. Keep that clock moving.
2nd down and 3 for Brennan Storr in a tie ball game, 21-all. So many mistakes for the Scots, but they've overcome them. A chance to win the ball game. Handoff, Crosdale up the middle, big hole. Crosdale still loose, inside the 5, into the end zone, touchdown Scots! What a moment for Highland Park, the interception by Preston Taylor. A big drive by Brennan Storr, and it's Crosdale cashing it in.
Oh, and the man they call Gibby, springing him on that block. What a great play. What a great run blocking by this Scots offensive line. Just what the Scots needed to regain the lead with only 1.5 minutes left. Amazing.
The all-important extra point is up and good. It's a 7-point lead for the Scots, 28-21.
As we look at that drive, right after the huge Preston Taylor interception, 62 yards, 1 minute and 3 seconds, 4 plays. I mean, exactly what you want if you're Highland Park.
Now, if you have one critique, it could have taken about another minute off of the clock.
Yep.
I think Highland Park still did manage that pretty well. And look, if you're Bobby Leidner, I know that man well down there in the yellow shirt. And I'll guarantee you, if you told him, hey, you've got 95 seconds, you got a 7-point lead, would you take that situation? In almost any ball game, the answer is yes. You know, we talked earlier, and Alex Carroll made a great point there at halftime about the belief in the sideline. If you are a Highland Park fan, if you are a Highland Park player, the belief is it's going your way.
Yeah, and I mean, they've had a tough battle all night against this Frisco Wakeland team. I mean, Jared White and Brennan Meyer on the Frisco Wakeland offense have made some big plays, but I mean, whenever they've been down, the key guys for Highland Park have stepped up in big moments and been able to lift the Scots back up.
Huge drive by Highland Park. Now over 400 yards of offense in the game for the Scots. Here's Jack Stone on another Davidson Bogle real estate kickoff. And finally, an opposing kickoff unit has decided it's a smart decision to go ahead and fair catch that football and take the ball out to the 25, especially with the new rule. It's a no-brainer to take that thing to the 25. Jeremy, we still got some football to play, but let's talk about our offensive player of the game provided to us by HP Youth Football, preparing tomorrow's Scots today. Who you got, offensive player of the game?
I mean, I've got to go Ben Crosdale on that big run right there. He's had a couple of big blocks as well, has played well so far, but I mean, that's been the play of the game so far for me, is that huge touchdown at the end.
5 rushes, 50 yards, and a score for Crosdale. He's our offensive player of the game by HP Youth Football, preparing tomorrow's Scots today. Here's Brennan Meyer trying to set up a screen. It is not there. There are blockers way downfield. This would be an illegal pass. Instead, the Scots get the sack. And it's a huge play to start this 2-minute drill, as that was defended perfectly by Highland Park.
That's the first timeout I have.
Or can we stay here to close the game?
That's an Origin Bank timeout taken there by Frisco Wakeland. So what I was saying there, Jeremy, they wanted to set up that screen. Once it was doomed because there were players down the field. It was never going to be a successful offensive play. Frankly, Meyer needed to get rid of that football into the sideline.
Yeah.
He takes the sack, the loss of yards, and the time continued to roll off the clock. So a bit of a sophomore mistake there by Meyer. Let's go back to our players of the game. Defensive player of the game, Briggs Freeman Sotheby's. Your neighbor knows the neighborhood. I'll tell you, I've been deferring to our spotter, Matthew Bryce. You got to pick for our defensive player of the game. Let's go Preston Taylor with the 2 interceptions, and Jack Curtis for his constant harassment of Brennan Meyer with a big sack in there as well. But Taylor, the 2 INTs, he's our defensive player of the game. Brought to us by Briggs Freeman Sotheby's. Your neighbor knows the neighborhood. Second and 15.
Great pick.
They need the 35-yard line for a first down. And he's down in a heap. The ball is lobbed up. It's tipped and caught. Unbelievable. Looked like Meyer was down for a sack. I believe it was Curtis that had him again. Beatrill makes the stop. Boy, that not ultimately what Wakeland wanted on that play either, as it'll be 3rd down and 7, although that's much better than a sack or an interception. 53 seconds left. Meyer wants to throw right side. That's caught. Jared White, the running back, needs to get out of bounds. He does. Jeremy Beedling, that'll set up a 4th down as Mason Gallus makes the stop. Our Riddle Plumbing play of the game, home of the honest, quality, great customer service, and a proud supporter of the Highland Park Scots. Our play of the game, it's Preston Taylor with the INT, as the Scots' season was on the line. Preston Taylor, 2 big INTs. That's our play of the game, brought to us by Riddle Plumbing. 4th down and 1. This is the ball game. 3 wide receivers for Brennan Meyer. They want to throw it. Rolling right, throwing, it's caught. That's the sophomore once again. A huge day for number 14, Ashton Cahooch. And we're going to keep playing football here in Allen.
Yeah, great play design, kind of clearing it out, and Ashton Cahooch comes from the other side on a drag route, wide open, and he's able to get out of bounds. But 40 seconds left. Wakeland on their own around 44-yard line. Let's see if the Scots can hold them.
All right, after this next play, let's talk about our special teams player of the game. So, Jeremy, start thinking about that. 1st and 10 here for Wakeland. 40 seconds left as they try to tie this game or take the lead with a touchdown. Brennan Meyer wants a deep ball. Knocked off his spot. Launches it deep. And it is caught at the 5-yard line. Frisco Wakeland able to connect. Davian Woolen keeps the Wolverines alive.
Timeout. Wakeland.
Frisco Wakeland will take a timeout. Jeremy Beadling, this thing is not over. 31 seconds left here in regulation. Certainly Frisco Wakeland might have the opportunity to go for 2 as well if they score a touchdown.
This is setting up for an exciting ending, Miles.
That's one way of putting it. Origin Bank timeout. Bank Original with 2 convenient locations in the Park Cities. What a play there by Brennan Meyer. And the Scots, boy, that ball just hung in the air so long they ended up kind of mistiming the jump and let Davian Woolen come down with the football. Jeremy, we've got just a moment here for our special teams player of the game, brought to us by Mark Clifton Homes, a trusted builder of exceptional homes.
I'm going to switch it up this week on you, Miles. I'm going to go Jay Cox. I love what he's done in the return game. He kind of brought some energy to the Scots in a couple of those big returns after a Wakeland touchdown, and I really love what he did for them in that instance.
That's a great call. That's our special teams player of the game, brought to us by Mark Clifton Homes. All right, 1st and goal from the 6. 31 seconds left in regulation. It's Jared White in the backfield. White, a direct snap. Does he want to throw it? Yes, he does. It's caught! It's Trip Reardon on the jump pass from Jared White. And is Frisco Wakeland going to go for 2, or do they want an extra point to tie? This could be your season for either team. Say a Brennan Storr would love one more chance at that football. I think it looks like Frisco Wakeland's going to go for it. They'll have an end goal from the 3-yard line.
They do have a timeout to get to think about it for a little bit longer. And that looks like what they're going to do here, Miles.
6 plays, 75 yards, 1 minute and 8 off the clock there for Frisco Wakeland. Frisco Wakeland here does take their final timeout of the half. It's an Origin Bank timeout. We're going to take a timeout as well. Be back with the remainder of this one. Back here at Howland Eagle Stadium. Apologize for some technical difficulties there during the commercials, but it is a point after attempt here for Frisco Wakeland. The game is 28-27. Highland Park a 1-point lead. The question here, does Frisco Wakeland want to go for it for the win or kick an extra point for the tie? It looks like
they're trotting out their offense, Miles.
They want to go for it to either win or lose right here. It is the quarterback, Brennan Meyer, flanked by Jared White. And a timeout now.
Timeout. Highland Park.
Will be taken by Highland Park.
Second timeout now.
Second charge timeout. I think they wanted to see the offensive alignment. You know, you could consider, well, if they make it, we want 2 timeouts for our 2-minute drill. But I think potentially your best chance to win the game outright is right here on this goal line stand. So it's worth burning that timeout, Jeremy Beadling, to get the right defensive play call based on what Frisco Wakeland wants to do there with their alignment.
And that's exactly right. And I think both teams have the same mentality coming into this play. This is the play of the game. This is for the game. So
this is your season.
You want to make sure that there's nothing wrong with your alignment. You want to make sure, hey, they have 3 wide receivers. We want the right set out there, and we want to make sure we can get an extra look and maybe make them double think about their play call or double think about what they're doing.
Highland Park has one timeout left. One timeout left.
The Scots asking for noise from the sideline, as this is the season for either the Wolverines or the Scots. Highland Park, winners of 10 consecutive games. How do they win the 11th? They keep Frisco Wakeland out here from the 3-yard line. And now it's number 12, Will Strotenboer in at quarterback. Strotenboer out there with Jared White.
Heavy set, two
This
tight
is your
ends.
season. From the 3-yard line, the handoff. White into the end zone. 2-point good. Wakeland takes the lead.
There's still 27 seconds left on the clock, and a big leg over on our sideline in Jack Stone. So let's see what happens. We still have one timeout left, 27 seconds. This game is far from over, Miles.
Yeah, a couple things in play here, Jeremy Beedling. The first thing, and I think the most important thing, Highland Park still thinks they're going to win the game, okay? Over on this near sideline. That's not a group of kids that's conditioned to think that they're going to lose, really, in almost any circumstance where they still have a pulse. So that's number one. Number two is you've got John Rutledge, you've got Jay Cox, and you've got an excellent return unit, okay? You've also got 27 seconds and a timeout to go. So I think the Scots, and then the other thing here is like what you just mentioned, Jack Stone with a big leg. So if you get in a position where it's a Hail Mary versus a field goal attempt, you can at least trot that guy out there and have a chance to make one to extend your season.
And look who's warming up right now on the sidelines for the Scots, none other than Jack Stone.
John Rutledge is the deep man back in the middle. You imagine he might start shading over to where Jay Cox has been receiving those on the far left side. It's Cox and Crosdale back there flanking. Now it's Rossley to the right of Rutledge. As they kick it deep, Krinsky well over the head of Jay Cox into the end zone for a touchback. 27 seconds left from the 25-yard line. Your season's on the line.
And if you had to guesstimate about where the Scots had to get inside Jack Stone's field goal range, where would you put that at, Miles?
Well, I know in terms of just his ability to put the thing through the uprights, you know, he can make a 50-yard field goal. So I think anywhere kind of 35-yard line and in, you at least have a chance at it.
Yep. And got to be looking to stop the clock, make sure we get some sideline passes, and we also have one timeout left. So let's see what the Scots and Randy Allen have draw it up here.
Brennan Storer standing at his own 20. 27 seconds left. Once that throw to the far right hash, they got it. Did he get out of bounds? No, he did not. The clock does stop on the first down. They need to reset those chains before that clock moves. 1 second went off the clock. Scots won't get it back as they roll it now with 19 seconds left. 1st and 10. Storer can't take a sack. Throws it left side, incomplete. 10 seconds left. Scots have it at their own 36. Now it's a really tough spot for this Scott offense.
And don't forget, the middle of the field is wide open with that one timeout left. So they don't have to necessarily get it to the sideline on this throw. They can throw it down the middle, try to get to around the 35, 30-yard line and hit a timeout with about a couple seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, you could throw one over the middle here, like you said. I think you're going to look for number 2, John Rutledge, the speedster. 2nd and 10. Storer over the middle. It is intercepted. Is that the official call? Still waiting on it? Still waiting on the call. No call from our crew yet. At midfield, it did look like an interception by Frisco Wakeland. Intercepted by Frisco Wakeland, and the Wolverines are going to win the ball game. A crushing defeat here for Highland Park. It is will be their first loss for the area round. Our Game On Sports truck says that's an incomplete pass. I've lost my monitor up here, so I can't see it, but our truck is adamant. Fred Garner, Sarah Beasley, everybody in our truck says that's incomplete. Highland Park should have one last gasp here. But regardless, it is a takeaway for Frisco Wakeland officially. The ball did hit the ground. But Frisco Wakeland's going to win the ball game, and they earned the win. A huge upset of the Highland Park Scots here at Allen Eagle Stadium, and a rare early round exit for Highland Park from the playoffs as Frisco Wakeland rushes the field. Let me be the first to say that I'm incredibly proud of this Highland Park group of coaches and seniors. And this is a group of winners, whether they won today's game or not. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap up the 2021 campaign here from Allen Eagle Stadium.
Text me to staff this, instead of texting me to staff this, we'll come back and recap the season and talk about the season.
Back here at Allen Eagle Stadium, the final score tonight is 29-28. Our Banditos post-game show won't have as much fun as it usually does with some happy Scots down there on the sideline. Unfortunately, some tears and some sad fellows down there on the sideline, as they certainly did not expect to exit here in the second round. I said it a minute ago, I'll say it again. I'm incredibly proud of all the men and women that had a hand in this year's 2021 Highland Park football team, and I'm proud to be a Scot today, as proud as I ever have been when they win a state championship, and really proud of those guys. We'll make sure to go shake all their hands at Highlander Stadium this evening. But Jeremy Beadling, best we can, let's try to put a bow on this season here and look forward to a 2022 campaign as well. And of course, we got to put a bow on our Game On Sports crew as well, because this is a family in its own right that we're going to miss hanging out with every Friday.
Best in the nation.
So let's go ahead and talk about some of the guys that will be departing. Let's start with the seniors. I wish we could spend 5 minutes here on each guy, just try to get a word or two in on each one that are here on my spotting board, guys that were able to get out there and play this year. I'm going to start with John Rutledge, who is just a fantastic Scot, a guy with Highland Park in his blood, a warrior out there on the football field. A skinny guy, to say the least, all right, but he is a tough receiver over the middle. Whenever he wants to go play college ball, they're going to get a steal. David Meany's a guy that didn't think they'd be playing on Friday nights, but worked his way into that lineup. Christian Reeves is as much of a guy they've ever had that wants the football and wants to compete for Highland Park football. He almost never fumbled. He ran every ounce of that body that he had for Highland Park football, and we're proud of him. Let's go down to another senior, and Matt Kemp, a Players Committee member. When you're on the Players Committee and you don't start, that means you're a big-time respected guy. Matt Kemp is that guy for them. Jonathan Thomas, number 14, a guy that never really got out of the gates here in 2021, but a great athlete overall, as he had a couple injuries here. Garrett Reynolds, a solid inside receiver. Pierce Shelby added some great depth for them on the defensive side of the ball. Philip Beetrell, another depth guy on the defensive side of the ball. Of course, a great family here in the Park Cities, the Beetrells. Luke Rossley, speaking of great families and football families, Luke Rossley, a Players Committee member, a hard hat type of guy. He brought his lunch pail every single Friday night and loved watching him play. Case Conway, a madman on the kickoff team. He had some big plays, not only on the JV through his career, but also as a senior here on the varsity. Preston Taylor, 2 big picks today. I thought he had a terrific season.
Played his heart out.
And he will go on to play some basketball for Highland Park. So Highland Park basketball will get back Jackson Heiss and Preston Taylor. So they're glad to have those guys. Wish that was a couple weeks later. JT Withers is going to go down as one of my all-time favorites here at Highland Park. A guy that was incredibly undersized, probably in terms of his physical gifts, was never thought to be a varsity starter, but just kept earning his way onto the field, did every single thing right for Darren Easton, and they could not keep JT Withers off of the field. He has a lot to be proud of for his career here at Highland Park as well. Liam Fisher, another one of those guys running down there on special teams. Blake Bevins, a great human being, a really good football player, a lot of length out there at corner, one of the team leaders of this team, and a guy I'm proud to call a friend as well. William Scribner, big-time effort as he came on late in the season at inside linebacker. Scribner was a guy that just kept earning more playing time, got out there as the season went along and made a big impact. Ben Croasdale,
one of my favorites.
Also one of my favorites. I know our spotter, Matthew Bryce, and we got to thank Matthew for his work this year, but Matthew Bryce, love watching that guy, as do I. Another guy that was undersized, but just put his body on the line for Highland Park football.
Oh, yeah. He reminds me of the running back, fullback, who I used to watch growing up, Mike Allstott.
Yeah.
You know, nose to the ground, running over guys, did not care who was in front of him. Played with some of the most heart, like most of these seniors did this season, but just loved watching him play on Friday nights.
Yeah, this is our extended post-game show here. I'm going to keep it here for about another 10 or 15 minutes if we can. We got to thank our whole Game On Sports crew, thank all of these seniors, and believe me, our Game On Sports crew is we might have some tears flowing down there in the truck. These guys love Highland Park football, and we love working and entertaining you guys on Friday nights. George Wright is one of my all-time favorite Scots as well, a guy that came up as a sophomore, you know, another undersized guy that played his tail off for Highland Park football and was a joy to watch, made a bunch of big plays for Highland Park over the years. Harrison Walton is another hard hat guy, a guy they did not expect to be a varsity impact player like he was. They thought maybe he's just a run defender. Turned out he was a 4-down linebacker, played all season for them, played his tail off. A lot to be proud of there for Harrison Walton as well. Thomas Oliver, a guy that provided some depth for them at inside linebacker, had an interception on senior night. Let's move on to the second half of the lineup there. Julius Lee, a guy that plays in the band and on the defensive line. He was one of the heart and soul guys for their locker room. Let's move on here to Charlie Wilson, the guy they call Chuck. We knew Chuck was going to be a road grader for this team for years. Big, strong, always a smile on his face, loves the game, loves Highland Park football. We appreciate Charlie Wilson. Jack Stone, man, that guy, one of the all-timers at Highland Park. A great kickoff man, a great kicker all the way around. Also a great human being, someone I'm proud to call a friend there in Jack Stone. And his football, his best football is still in front of him as he'll go on to kick at Michigan State and have a great career and get a great education up there. Spencer Bell, a guy, how about this? He tore his ACL, so he could not play linebacker like was his trade, but they would still let him deep snap, and so even though he had a hurt knee, he was out there helping the team all season. That's Spencer Bell. James Wilson is the twin brother of Charlie Wilson, another heart and soul guy for this team. Gannon Gobert, let me not skip over Wilson Roberts, a defensive lineman that made a ton of plays as the season went on, a guy that was not very well known, wasn't on my spotting board for a long time, but Wilson Roberts just kept making plays and getting out there and earning the respect of his coaches. Sam Heinrich, another guy that, you know, when you're behind a talent like Jack Stone, a lot of people fold the tent mentally and decide that, you know, they're probably not going to be an impact player. Sam Heinrich worked his way into a position to be a major impact player on this Highland Park football team. Never missed an extra point in his entire career, and that is something to be proud of. Gannon Gobert, a 2-year contributor for Highland Park on the offensive line, one of their heart and soul guys this year as well. At left guard, did a great job. Number 68. Let's move on down to Grant Gibson, Jr. Did a terrific job for Highland Park. Really kind of playing out of position at tackle, more of a natural guard, but did his darndest to hold down that position. Was a great leader for this team throughout the whole season.
Was the springing block on that last Crowsdale touchdown for them. Had a great game today.
Yep, let's move on here. Another senior as we go down our list. As we're getting close to wrapping this thing up, we just got a couple of seniors left. Our truck's telling me to get out, but we're going to talk about all these seniors here. Mason Gallus, Players Committee member, one of my favorites to watch at outside linebacker. Nobody had more enthusiasm and loves the game more than Mason Gallus. Daniel Shaver on the defensive line, a big body, 6'5", 240 pounds, held his own all season. Henry Jurgovan is a guy that is loved by everybody around him, an extremely popular guy, easy with a smile, incredibly smart, and really helped the team with his versatility. And finally, Jack Curtis, who's a 3-year star at Highland Park, helped them win a lot of football games. He deserves a whole lot more attention than he's got, but Jack Curtis is a winner on and off the field, and that's another person I'm proud to know.
When you talk about a football guy, somebody who lives, breathes the game of football, that's Jack Curtis. And every time I've seen him play, every time he's put on those cleats, put on that Highland Park jersey, he's come to play and given his 100% effort, and you just got to respect that.
Just about 5 minutes left here in our season's coverage of Highland Park football, as I'm going to ask our truck to bear with me here for just another moment as we take a looking forward at Highland Park football in 2022. So much to look forward to for those guys. Let's start with the offensive line. Andrew Maroulis, Lawson Petty, and Robert Sweeney will all be coming back. That's your 2 tackles and a center, as well as your starting quarterback, 2 starting outside receivers, and a starting running back. That's Jay Cox, Brennan Storr, Jackson Heiss, Luke Herring, and let's not forget, maybe one of the most talented guys, Grayson Schrank, was lost for the season. He might have been their best overall weapon last year as a sophomore, missed the entire season. He'll be back next year as a senior, so a lot to look forward to there, and a lot more guys coming up the ranks. Let's take a look at the defense real quick. Guys will be coming back: Kyle Carlson, Spencer Brown, Judge Ellis, Henry Richter. They got a lot of guys coming back there. We'll miss a lot at linebacker, but they will get back William White and Tommy Rossley. In the secondary, you'll get back Adam Rourke, who will captain that group, Carl Williams as well. And certainly Adam Rourke is a guy that they can build around in the secondary. Okay, I want to make sure that we don't miss anybody here on our crew. And guys, please tell me in the truck if we do miss anybody. But we have a lot to be thankful for. Let me start mentioning these names. David Clark, of course, he's my good friend and my co-host. Sorry he wasn't here tonight. Gabe Scott did a ton of our producing, audio, camera work, all of the above. Garrett Hayes was a guy that was here super early every single week. Did everything he could for our crew. Of course, Jeremy Beedling sitting next to me today. He and Madison Lambert did a great job down there on the sideline helping out with us up here in the booth. Rob Davis is our technical director. He's the one that's in charge of seeing what you see on the screen. Whenever you see it, he punches the show. He's our director and one of our favorite guys down there. We all love Sarah Beasley as well. She's one of our big producers, a very positive person, always quick with a smile and with a hug, and we really appreciate Sarah and all of her effort. Aaron Robertson, our chief engineer, always working his tail off to put out whatever fires need to be put out and get whatever needs to be done. Bill Davies does the graphics. Bill did a great job for us this year. Brian Lockhead runs the replay stick. He's responsible for all those great looks that you got at home. Of course, Cookie Hawkins, everybody's favorite audio man. Always easy with a smile and a great guy to have on our team. A couple names I want to mention as well: David Hoyt, Jackson Archer, Tyler Presley, Abner Cruz, Connor Simmons, David Hoyt. Let me mention a couple, 2 or 3 more here. Of course, Ryan Lockhead was taking pictures for us this year. Trevor Van Dam was running the sideline cam. We really appreciate him. I also have to thank my father, Brian Dunklin, who helped me get ready for all of these games and was our statistician and helped us with those drive charts. And of course, I got to thank the man behind the scenes up here, Matthew Bryce, helped us all year, spotting, making sure we knew what happened, when it happened, and we really appreciate that whole group. And Will Washington, of course, not with us tonight, but Will did a fantastic job down there on the sideline, up here in the booth. He's got a great future as a broadcaster if that's what he wants to do, and calling Highland Park basketball this evening. That's why he couldn't be with us. Well, that's going to do it for our coverage of Highland Park football. I'm upset to say that here in 2021, but it is the case as the Scots lose 29-28 here at Allen Eagle Stadium. A shocking upset at the hands of the Frisco Wakeland Wolverines. And let's go Wolverines the rest of the season. They earned this win. And of course, without signing off here, I wasn't gonna forget Fred Garner, our fearless leader. He's the guy that makes everything go for Game On Sports. He's always working and always willing to do whatever it takes to bring Highland Park sports coverage to you at home. Anybody else we're missing? Anybody in the truck? Guys, we appreciate y'all so much. Our viewers, our parents, our sponsors, the players, everybody on our crew. It's with a heavy heart that I say so long for the 2021 season as you've been watching Highland Park football coverage by Game On Sports Productions. And God bless.